हाँ जी मैं हूँ माइक पे लाइट अप तो बोली बोतल है तो खोली बोतल वेलकम बैक टू द स्ट्रीम गाइस बॉल्स वेलकम बैक टू द स्ट्रीम वॉच पार्टी बोलते चडी खोलते लेट्स गो वॉच पार्टी सेंटिनल्स फॉर द विन ब्रो Start.
Close it out with kickoff trophy.
First match कब है?
Riot Games Arena, welcome to the kickoff grand final.
Thank
Make
you.
some noise for the team that's made a flawless get right.
गेल चोदी नहीं करना अपने साथ, ठीक है? लैग हो रहा क्या? नहीं हो रहा ना लैग नहीं हो रहा। अरे पर इतना काला क्यों दिखा रहा है? लाइट भी fuck you. आज लाइट मुंह पे ही रखना पड़ता देख रहा। वो लाइट भी आन दो क्या? वही करना पड़ता। आज पूरा फुल सपोर्ट टू सेंटिनल्स। लाइक करो तब तक स्ट्रीम को। वेलकम
to be able to make two grand finals in a row for the kickoff.
champions
G2, they had such a dominant run to get here, not losing a map, finding themselves from the beginning. Said it took some time, but in that lower bracket game against MIBR, it was the best we've seen from Sen thus far this year. Zeus has stepped up big time. Narrate coming alive back on the fade as well, and they're in a position now to try and upset G2 and get their revenge.
It is an uphill battle going up against the team that hasn't lost a map yet, hasn't had to reveal their entire map pool, and you already got crushed by them, dismantled.
Ooh, okay, well we got Split, Pearl, Abyss, and if necessary, we'll finally see some Fracture and then Haven to close it out.
So we're starting off with something new for G2. They've not shown their split yet. Sen have shown it 3 times, most recently beating MIBR. So clearly seeing some gap there and having the opportunity to put Sen into this game absolutely blind.
If we do go the distance to all 5 maps, we're going to see everything that G2 hasn't played yet, which is pretty cool. Bold choice to pick that split first. They have the tape on Sen, and Sen have literally no idea what they're going to be running. Maybe they bring in the chamber like we saw EG have with Ye on this map. Maybe Leaf continues to play that role. Or he's on the Viper. They have options like you said.
Yeah, the flexibility of the players, Leaf especially, is huge. But also, I think G2 have been the defining team in the meta. When we talked to Valorant, he said he felt like other teams were behind them, taking their ideas, stealing it in scrims and implementing it. They've truly been the innovators in VCT Americas this year.
Yeah, these are the 2 teams that by far have been the most experimental, pushing the meta forward, trying to be ahead of the rest of the pack. Correlation doesn't equal causation, but it's interesting that they're both in the finals, and that's a common theme for the 2 of them.
There were such big changes coming into kickoff. 2 new maps in the pool. Tejo being released. Honestly, just a few weeks before we even started, teams had very little time to put it all together.
Which was why I was shocked when John QT wanted to just go full investment on the
But
table.
I loved that idea from Sentinels and G2 as well. They don't want to be stuck in the past, playing the same stuff they have been before. They want to find the read on the meta that is going to put them ahead of other teams. And I think that's the kind of stuff that's going to win you games at international events. Americas has been the most Teo-pilled region. We've been playing so much Teo, so much Vise, and I think that'll be a big upgrade going into Bangkok.
And in the case of these two squads, so much Yoru. They have relied on that duelist to make a lot of space to nullify the Teo on the opposite side by drawing out util, being able to teleport away. Jaw on that again, no surprise. And Sen, Yoru as well.
Yeah, it's nearly a mirror mode matchup here. The only difference, bang locking in the Omen instead of the Astra. The biggest strength there is the line control from the Paranoia. G2 are going to have a lot of tools in trap plays with all of the Breach util, the Astra util, the Teo util. I'm so excited to see what they have.
Riot Games Arena, it's now time for the grand finals here at Kickoff. Let's go ahead and send it over to your casters. A couple of fellow esports geriatrics, my good friends. It's Bren and Sideshow.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm feeling like it at this point, honestly, just aged and jaded with time. Is what happens to esports. It's the grand finals of the Americas Kickoff. We've got Sentinels and G2, and for one team, they are looking for that title that's constantly eluded them.
It's of course Sentinels, guys. Please behave.
And this is another third chance now for Sentinels. Revenge is on the cards. It's there for the taking, but they have a hell of an uphill battle if they want to grab it.
Everything is stacked against them. They have to go up against G2 without any idea of how they're going to play this mirror composition on Split.
We want race, second race, we want second race.
Knowledge from scrims. So it's time for the Samsung match starting a little bit fast with those Samsung SSDs, and we are into it with our grand final, a trophy on the line. And as you said, that is going to mean so much to G2.
Early start, that's a rapid approach. Fault line, salvos, all going to be combining against Jorgo, that space deep up mid. Pushed them up in that forward spot, but it's slow going for now.
And we haven't seen this composition have a mirror match. G2 have not shown it. But when other teams have tried to defend against this comp, when Sen are on the attack side, it is tough to hold space. There's so much utility pressure coming towards you. And Leaf gets tucked up, inserted really deep. Do they go for a re-clear?
Looks like they want to, but there's a gap in the wall. Leaf already ahead of it. Flash primed and ready into the hands of Zekken, but he's none the wiser. It's going to be just avoiding him completely. And Leaf, potential to do the damage with the backstab occurring. They're putting a squeeze now onto those players. Ram control earned and theirs, and out of sight is next for the taking. John QT. Hell of a task. He's got to anchor this one. He's going to be tested momentarily. Pushed up onto the corner. Shots are landing for him though, but his allies being whistled away in the background. The reposition around into the smoke. So in that chaos, but G2 are very aware of it, waiting for that smoke to fade, taking a fight together, leaving it into that 2v1.
Celsius, I trust you, brothers.
Quick tap. Snakebite forces it forward. Celsius earns himself that 1v1. It's clever positioning, but now it's about the timing. Swinging around, Jorgamo holding his ground. A tap as well. Wide! And a one click to earn Sentinels that pistol.
It's individual play from Sen that gets the job done.
Let's go.
Masterpiece. John Cutie comes out with genuine cinema in the pistol round.
Second by voltage chodi
to be able to make it somewhat winnable for Zelsis, but it was still so tough. The G2 players at all times are trying to double up and offer Sen no opportunities to take 1v1s. John still managed to get a couple, and Zelsis separates them with a perfect snakebite placement. That's a Red Bull clutch that carries on the momentum and the excellent gameplay that we saw in the last match from Zelsis. He was untouchable at the beginning of the series against MIBR. Gets him on his feet early, pumped up, and that energy is going to help Sen.
Diffuse kar chal bola.
Because it's an uphill climb. It is an uphill climb.
It's so damn difficult. Best of fives in this fashion when G2 have that top seed advantage. They were almost perfect coming through the uppers. I mean, it didn't drop them out. Got to be careful though with his composition. That's a judge at that kind of range. And the salvos add some necessary defense. Bit more firepower. The spikes drop down into the middle of nowhere. Flash and a TP in the middle by Jorgmo, but risks needed to be taken. But still, Sen only dropping the one player in the midst of all of that. It'll be healthy going into the third.
It's almost impossible to hold B Heaven against this composition. Again, we haven't seen it with G2 on the attack side, but when Sen are attacking, you're running into Breach, Omen paranoia. I mean, it's going to be Astra stuns on the other side here, but you see how Zelsis had, what, like one tiny area that he could play, and he still got stunned. It looked so uncomfortable, and yet he got the job done, arguably because G2 were only on the pistols.
Jaldi,
But it doesn't matter.
jaldi.
It'll get the job done. He's up to 5-0.
Hello.
Spam, Jorg. Taking a chip damage.
Shooter pe maar
Taking him out, but he's
agar
alive and kicking with that ramp control. Pushed up, narrate,
kya hai
jump
bhai
spot. He's hoping and hunting for a bit of information to know if G2 have actually taken it.
And this is very similar to pistol round macro.
Refight?
Jorg has to get out. That was the same position that Leaf tucked himself into on the pistol round and got rewarded after Sen went for a reclear. This time, Sen not putting bodies on the line in the reclear, but using util instead and regaining presence information in a ramp. This is a spot where G2 often like to move to the opposite side, whereas instead here, they're grouping up for a hit onto A.
Just going to go for it now. Going to be sending forward to that util. That's a good drone. Suppression across the board. A bit of spam into the smokes. That's just Valen. Yeah, unlucky from the raid, but defensive, understanding that the flood could come through.
Great positioning already, though, from G2. They didn't commit too many people to the site. They realized because of the Teho drone from Trent that it was completely empty, playing for the retake, and now they have Jonapi with Leaf ready to stop this ramp retake. Sen actually split up, trying to go from both sides at once.
Makes it awkward. Splash that's about to occur. Zetkin was opening himself up wide there, but a beautiful one to win out. Clone's going to be tagging and taking a couple of the bullets here. G2 just trying to force and fight their way out of this tricky spot. They were under that pressure, as you mentioned, straight through main, but Jonah P being that backup policy, and John QT left to see what he can do. It's a 1v3 with time ticking against him. Players are offering themselves up, but at this point, a little bit too late to go for the play. Just trying to play for those exit kills. G2 though survive. 2 rifles in their hands, and a couple of ults as well being close to earned.
It's a great bonus for Sen. I think, you know, zoom out. Yeah, G2 take the round and get on the board, but Sentinels are still in a great spot here.
I was coach for the Fnatic.
They're going to be able to apply pressure to the economy. Jorgamo's picking up a stinger into this next round.
Wow, good stun. Good stun.
And I'm also
G2 are excited to play today as well.
No.
Jorg, stinger. With the Yoru ult though, so definitely a potential for him to come out of the dimensional drift and get a free pick with that light weaponry.
Gone for a B-split.
Did he clear Zekken? I'm not sure Zekken even knows.
Might have missed it, but he's going to be pumping in that chaos destruction, raining down from above. Meant to supplement the action, and Zelsis, he has stepped up to that challenge. Regardless, still, it's too much for him to overcome. Double faced up there by the G2 players, and side controllers garnered.
Picture perfect entry from G2 though. That's how you're supposed to use the Yoru ult. All the pressure's on Sen now.
Tap, looking for the second wave of things here. Sen gonna bite that bullet! And speaking of biting it down, Zekken, he's offloaded it into him, leaving it to the 1v1 though. Spike out into the open, and John QT! He was primed, he was ready onto that angle.
Sorry, G2 by sorry.
Delivers Sentinels the third.
No,
dude, this is different from Sen today. You see Sentinels on this stage prior to their match against MIBR, like the early games from Sen, they are not hitting shots like this. Not all of them, all at the same time. Zekken just fried Trent and Valen on the entry, and John has been playing great ever since the pistol. Those ghost kills he got, he's also winning clutches like that. In order to beat G2 today, Sen need to be firing on all cylinders, and they've certainly started that way. The form they're bringing to the game is ridiculous. And it's not like that was a bad round from G2. They had all the util followed up off Jorg's ultimate perfectly. Here's that util pressure into B Heaven. Makes it difficult for Zelsis to hold there.
He's forced backed away. It puts the pressure up onto Heaven. Jump spot. Sees the heads. There's an outlaw going to be waiting for them though. If they choose to take the fight towards it. Pushing forward. Zekken. He's already grabbed the one with Valen being dropped, but now putting a bit of a squeeze onto the side. Still, Heaven needs to be regained, and it's weaker weaponry. More util where that came from as well. Coverage on every single avenue.
500 rupees
cleanly
GP.
dealt with. The G2 Eco finds no results.
Tap. 500 rupees GP.
Zekken's got his ult to be able to play some kind of retake style here. Zelsis, we saw him ult a lot in mid. In previous matches where he's played on split. There's no Yoru ult on the other side to try to apply pressure through that, but there is Armageddon. It's possible that throwing out a Viper pit in this next round could be a little bit of a trap. Let's have a look at what he goes for early on here. Yep, he goes for the pit. All right, do they have a good game plan for taking space? Teo drone, stun.
Yep. They're throwing the kitchen sink at him at this point, and he's going to try and dominate that position once more. Steps into the pit. There's a blight onto the map, but not for Zelsis.
It was only Jonah P that actually scaled through mid.
Losing that, though. It's a bit whiffy straight through the wall. Armageddon's going to be offloaded anyway. On top of that, with a Cosmic Divide, why not use everything at your disposal? G2 will gain access to the site, gain access to the plan, a renewal into the round in terms of that time.
But this is going to be a very tough post plan. You're holding on against Yoru ult. Zekken sees everybody, and John has his ult. They need to rely on Jorg finding a good timing through the pit in mid, and Zelsis has got the watch on.
Decade is being watched for, and Jorgamo somehow wins that fight out.
How did Jorg win that?
And with that, Thorn into their side for the TP reposition once more, but the Armageddon is a problem. TP again, step forwards, and John has dealt with him. He was a pesky problem, Jorg. One less thing to worry about still. This is where it gets tight. Thick and heavy in terms of what's being laid down onto this side. Second side step, Happy Feet in the process. Snap to the side. A stun connects, and Trent is firing off.
A 1v2 required from G2, and Trent just keeps the rifle towards the end. The economy is constantly pressured, though, for this side that came through the upper bracket and has yet to drop a map. It's a Red Bull clutch with an amazing stun lineup. I mean, look at that, knowing exactly that that is going to catch on to anybody that's tapping or diffusing. But at the same time, I think Sen can feel pretty comfortable, but this becomes a super important round. G2 need to win it. They're on mostly light armor, but they have the ults to work around.
The money's a bit rough on either side as well.
You can run a fast hit here for G2. Yoru ult finds people. Jonah P destroys them.
No hard middle from the G2 players. They clear out most of the way towards the site, and Jorg is going to set himself up. Viper's pit as well. That's going to make it that much more difficult for the retake to occur for Sen.
So now you're thinking, okay, the retake's going to come from ramp side now. Valen's there. The tail drone did not clear.
Missed them.
And if you run this retake, you're going to land into the Rolling Thunder, and Sen's economy is not amazing.
This is very much all in. It's a back-breaking round for either of these teams. Rolling Thunder this time committed over to the left side of the site. A lot of players going to be collected, stunned up in the process. Second in and through towards the back. Masterful shot, returning with the fire once more, but Narrator's dropped down to help them out. Reinforcements are arriving rapid at that. What is that from Jorgamo? Snaps to the side. Still alive. The pit causes chaos, causes confusion. Have onto the defuse, and it all comes down to Valen. Safe pair of hands. Waiting on the sidelines, but knows exactly when to strike.
भाई तुक्का लग रहा है भाई, तुक्का है ये तो। उन्हें बेचारा ठहरा हुआ था, सब उल्टा पलटा के मार दिया, चूतिया ही क्या? बेचारा जल्दी कोई तो
the brokies on the defense side.
देख ऐसे करता बस वो।
What was this? What?
That's okay.
So is that how he won a trophy, was it? He's just been cheating all these years. Oh, that's crazy. But it was the ults that ended up winning it there for G2, and a great awareness of Valen's positioning. So now Sen, bad weaponry. They are going into Bang though, who has the Guardian, and John's going to be baiting for it.
And holding it up and holding it down. Bang Guardian, straight through the wall. Bullets not going to be caring about that business.
Trent took damage from that. Actually, Trent and Valen both took damage from that. It's a nice little trap play. Sen are cooking.
It's the opening that they were hoping for, especially when their money has been battered to this degree, because there's guns all across the board here for G2.
I mean, you could easily classic right-click Valen or Trent to death at this point. So the damage is super important. Sen don't know it's happened, though, necessarily, because it was off the back of util damage, so they might not realize these players are as vulnerable as they are. Valen's calling a re-hit onto B, and Sen are still here, looking, waiting. This looks really bad for G2.
Util being held for
G2
both
please
of
go
these
B.
teams.
G2.
It's going to be a clash.
मतलब कुछ भी नहीं.
The danger mainly here for G2. They can hear it starts being propped down. Fault line salvos clearing the way, but it's going to be used pound for pound. You can see it. It's a snake bite. Salvas of their own. Senna willing to hold on to this one too for Nail. Not shying away from the fight and the action. Paranoia on top of it with the orb up into their face, but that is spam into the backline. Maybe just off the TP. Sound cue. Something being heard off the back of it. Still
15 seconds.
They're swiveling around all over the place here, and time is running short. Shy of the mark still. Wrapping around. Bullets are nailing. And head's not quite popped, but players are weak enough that the slightest of breeze is going to be bringing them down to their knees. A 2v2. Or back up. Popped up. And then he saw the positioning, and he saw that these shots, John, has just ripped it off the heads, and Zelsis alongside him.
Cutie aim.
The composure from G2 almost sailed them through those stormy waters. But Sen come out on top. Once more, the individual form has got to be praised. It's a 2v2 where the players, they've got 60 health between them.
Yeah, it's a different Sentinels that have shown up to this game.
And G2 had just got themselves into a better spot. We were just talking about the fact that with that huge ult round that they got onto A, they've broken the Sentinels' economy. What matters that if you lose then to the eco? Zelsis, by the way, utterly continuing that momentum from yesterday. 11-4. There was no world in which you could have convinced me a week ago that Zelsis would be out here diffing Leaf. Leaf looked like the best player in Americas, and kind of has been looking like that for longer than Zelsis has been having big impact games. We think of Zelsis as the glue guy that keeps Sentinels together.
Yeah. The emotional element that's going to be lifting the team out of tough times, but this is purely in the server in terms of his impact. I mean, he stepped up massively, and honestly, this time out, first time we've had to breathe. Yeah. As these compositions, I mean, listen, you look at these, I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be a slow game, two teams testing, poking, prodding at each other. But there's been no wasted moments from either of them.
Anytime there's a Yoru ult online, the attacking team is sending it. And then, even when they don't have the Yoru ult online, they have so much attacking initiator power that they can take space really quickly. Maybe that means that G2 should be slowing things down a little, trying to bait out the Sen reclears. But Sen have also had great reads. Like, for example, in that prior round, they kept the 4 players stacked over towards B with only Zekken watching A heaven. John has not just been firing, he's been reading the game very well. After the pistol, it should be said, it has been somewhat even in terms of the rounds, but G2 have been constantly under economic pressure, and now you see the result of that.
Jordan was the one to take that contact up towards ramp, so he pulled out a lot of that util prize. Zelsis, this spot, not clear by the drone. It's a slight pocket though. The presence of mind just not quite there for G2. Still vulnerable up. Softens up the targets for Zelsis, still survives, still stands his ground.
That's a spot that you could argue is too high risk, high reward to play on an anti-eco.
I know the timings.
He's still going for it. The Sen players are still confident enough to make plays and not play scared in these spots. G2 turned this. He applied a little bit of ramp pressure at the start of the round, but John is still watching it. They've got 2 players in mid where they last saw G2, and 2 players playing for information.
35 seconds, Jiggle. Lay it down to stun. Like we've been talking, they're not shying away from the fight, even though they're against the eco. Willing to take risks, willing to take fights. G2 will be lucky to get a plant in this instance. Trent, barely alive, barely hanging on. The stun and the salvos might do the job, but it's a pick your poison situation. He's out into the open. He's honestly lucky to be grounded just that. Still, shut down, Sen now up to 6. It's astounding from them, this bounce back that is literally happening on our screens.
And so similar to last year. The low bracket run, kickoff, finding momentum, finding their form.
Yeah.
This Sen team went on a revival tour in 2024. This organization was a bit more of just like the clout org kind of prior to 2024. And they were popular, but weren't really doing too much. People were harkening back to the glory days of when TENS was on Reyna. And then last year they proved that with the right squad, they could actually win trophies and bring them back to Sen City. Did a great job at the start of the year. Made top 4 at Champs as well, a second kind of peak. And now they're looking to run that back again in 2025. G2 can't afford to let too much momentum build. They absolutely need this one.
They really do. You don't want echoes of the past as much as Sen want that. Resurgence have formed through the lowers, taking it all the way to Bangkok. For G2, they've been in this spot before, making it to the finals, but never able to lift that trophy in Americas. Money in the back pocket, though, means that they've got rifles to work with, and a lot of util where that came from. 20 seconds into the round, steadily taking that control, but instead of being so good with the reclays and the refights, and you're seeing it again, used out, primed and ready once more. It's flashes exchanged, a quick tap to the side. Jogamo is able to at least return that kill. Not quite a trade, but it turns it into the 4v4.
G2 still got quite a bit of space, though.
Armageddon. Cosmic Divide on top of it. It's a
Bang
unique
goes forwards.
one. Yeah, it goes forwards, and the Bang is ahead of it. Oh my, timing to be caught. You can hear it. Boom's ricocheting behind him. Team's being bought and brought back into the fight and the fray. Plant online for G2. No pushback, and not playing anybody on site.
They're going to wait for the Euro ultimate. Here comes Zeken's retake.
Yeah, Dimensional Drift is going to give full information now for retake to occur. Spots the one. It's a Yoru player though. Jogamo has potentially evacuation, but I'm not too sure how many TPs he's actually got. Inside the smoke to play around, weaving in and out, and it's about that timing. Missed it. Narrate finds it. Salvos pushing them back in a way. They've got the pull as well to play this one to the early hours of this. Narrate sticking, happens to the defuse already. These are the Wingon's board, and it is perfection in motion. Sentinels just dissecting with precision all across the site. They know exactly what is going on.
Amazing protocols there from Sen. On the retake, they're in. They take space, and then they have two players ready to catch the Heaven reflank. Bang goes with them. Bang is part of this retake and then teleports back up to Heaven to be able to play with Zelsis. So you don't just put everything on Zelsis to stop the Heaven reflank. Valen was holding pull for way too long, but it wouldn't have mattered anyway. That's 3 retakes in a row. Sen are running away with this map.
That is echoes of their old split gameplays. One of the things they did so well was that retake protocols. Guessing at the beginning of this year, to be honest.
It's so similar to last year, isn't it?
Yeah.
They have changed a lot. You know, John has changed his role completely. They lost 2 really solid structural members.
Celsius an attempt to take the timing past that one. Fault line's good though. Slows down the potential pace that could be occurring on the backside of it. Celsius suppressed up though, and we'll have to respect that space is given up in through mid.
If Jogamo manages to get a kill, he has the dimensional drift, and that could change the texture of this fight a lot. But at the moment, he's not being offered anything.
Bang is so far forwards though. Smoke to play himself inside of, and TP to get away from it.
They're doing this stuff constantly. I mean, again, it's on a situation where G2 have got a weaker buy, but they're so happy to take aggressive fights and find the timings. They're playing with zero respect, and I think that's really knocking G2.
It's definite key. Players though lurk their way up forwards. The gun might just give away the plot. Bang takes the timing and takes their heads away. Spice dropped down in the middle of nowhere here. G2 don't really have a chance in hell. Jogamo rips it from behind as a dimensional drift. Considered but not ripped off. And the rate locking it all in. Down and out. There's no stepping over that boundary of Heaven control. This is 8 rounds now for Sen.
It's too clean. It looks lovely. But at the same time, G2 are not the same squad that we've seen on this stage so far in Americas. They're getting caught. They're not double clearing smokes together. They're not aware of certain angles. And they're not anticipating these reclears, which, to Sen's credit, are wonderfully timed. I know that G2 had talked a lot, joked kind of painfully in the past about them choking when it came to the finish line in certain Americas tournaments before. They're going to have to turn this around.
Once more, no time to catch your breath. Jogan was all the way in with a dimensional drift, and again back with the disrespect! Dominating the smoke positions. Out through the back as well as an Armageddon. Lay it down on top. Flash in your face, you're blinded up. And very little chance, very little opportunity for Jonah P to pave a way to victory. It's a 9-3 start to split.
Utter domination.
BM कर रहा जॉन क्यूटी.
If you listen to the analysts on this show, you'd be expecting domination in this match. Not this way around. No. Both of these squads have managed to battle against upsets in the bracket so far to be able to get their way to Masters Bangkok. And now we're here fighting for a trophy. And Sen, they've brought their final form. G2 yet to show up.
Unreal confidence on display by Sentinels. And will they be able to keep that momentum going? That is the big question we're going to be finding out after this.
No comments.
Oof, stuck paying for that old phone? Don't
मेरी कब जैसी नहीं हो ट्रॉफी.
You know,
Same.
Verizon
देखो.
will pay off your phone.
Same ऐसे.
And you'll get iPhone 16 on us.
इसमें बस इधर लाल
That's a
कलर डाल
value
दो,
of up to
प्लेयर डाल के.
$1,600
Same.
only on Verizon.
कौन ट्रॉफी की बात कर रहा है जिसके घर में
Red Bull gives you wings.
छोड़ दे भाई किसमें अटक गया. लड़ेगा फोन गरम हो गया.
Risky maneuvers from Sen, honestly playing with utmost confidence, but sometimes that's what it takes. They're here against G2. It's a matchup where, listen, G2 have the advantage of that upper bracket. They can choose which maps they end up going to in terms of banning 2 of them out of the pool potential of 5. And this is just against, I think, a lot of our expectations. G2 didn't even show this map before. A number of advantages they've got going for them as well. They can prep more time in that department. On top of it, Sen have just come off the back of playing a best of 5.
At the same time, it feels like Sen knew exactly what to expect in this game because they play almost exactly a mirror comp.
Yeah.
Losers.
They had such amazing reads in the first half.
Heavy stack players from the G2 side. Salvos clearing out towards Ven. That's a fault line up on top of the angle. He's trying to play and defend his teammate. Stuns are going to be fading, but flash into the face when the clone goes down. Still off to the round. Poor. Okay, push forwards all the way. John QT, leader not just in name. He's taking space and taking fight straight to them. They are cleaning up. Every possible angle where a player could be
John QT
hiding tucked to the corner, leaves it down to Trent in that 1v4, and he's not anticipating the hell position. John with 3.
Such me you can't see him. Trent.
John's been amazing in this match so far. Both of the pistols, he looked fabulous with a ghost in hand. 13 and 5. And he's not at the top of the scoreboard. It's just Sen have turned up today.
Second by Kawaj, bottom flag of watch.
From what we've seen so far, to be getting big value, big individual moments.
You can't see him because he's John.
10 to 3. A pure eco for G2. Sen with a chance to charge up ults. They've been actually really heavily focused on maximizing orb value.
Understanding the importance as well. Your ult online, it just allows you to disrespect defensive util. Second just run in, ping out the players' positions. The threat of that fault line salvo combo. Zekin can take liberties here, just trying to fight for the space. He's not going to give up a gun if he does go down. He's only got the ghost in hand. The rest of his team going to be trying to split this one up and through. So he will fall. It's a refight by G2, doubled up together. And as I said, it only handed over to Ghost. And that is just unaware of the space that could be taken.
Valen with incredibly wrong read there on what was going on.
Timing from George, slips his way right through the back.
And those Elsis falls on the flank. This is going to be Sentinels for sure taking this up to 11. It's a question of who they want to prioritize the ult orb onto at this point, I think, and John's going to want to fight for it. Armageddon, more useful, closer.
Notification about
where are they? Don't want to give up the gun though as well.
And also
it was actually quite a nice strat from Sen in this round as well. They send, as you were talking about, Zekken alone through B main. And there's John getting the kill. But the rest of them, they smoked B heaven to make it feel like it was a full B main hit. And then they actually flashed up through mid into B heaven. So hoping to try to catch some of the G2 players stood around in that spot looking towards B main. That's why Valorant had no idea that B heaven was taken. That smoke that was thrown from back disguised that play completely.
Holy shit,
He is.
Cut the end of that off, but he is frying.
Yeah, he is frying.
That's probably what he meant to say.
That's not the word that I think that anyone has a problem with.
No, I can fill in the gaps.
Are you seriously pushing on Sen, yo?
Quick play from Sen again.
Sen के ऊपर push कर
Sen, I should say G2. That's going to be there.
शर्म आनी चाहिए
तुम लोग. Expended an
11-3 हो तुम लोग. 11-3.
Reclaimed. Poor position by Trent, just jiggling.
11-3 scoreboard में कोई नहीं रहता.
Receiving a few bullets as well. Trouble, but Drone sets it forwards and attempt to spam as well from Jonah. He's trying to be brave, and you have to be at this point. 7-3, but Sentinels are ones in full control of the situation.
उसके मार रहे सीधा.
A 3v4 and John just causing a bit of a, or calling, sorry, a bit of a pause in the round.
इतने के लिए TP use करो. मैं flash.
Pressure in mid, and there takes a fight.
Okay.
Head taken.
Bang,
Valorant wins the smokes battle. Takes out the lurker. Now they can focus heavily on A. Sen without any space at all in the map right now. So things not looking great here. But a reminder that this is also pretty much a bonus. There's only Zekken that ended up full buying into this one. I think he's fairly confident he can get his Euro online and go into the next with, what, like a Bucky or something. And he'll be fine.
Gun निकालना, gun ने तेरे पे.
G2 need this, and they need it cleanly. And Valen's going to have to come up with more than just the kill on bang in mid.
One hell of a trial awaiting him, and Salva's going to make it that much more difficult. Spraying him down is the only chance he had. At least it takes one down, 2 to grave. Heaven. Watch 4 onto the angle. Again, the util is just perfect. Buys that time and that space. Dimensional drift is going to be committed. That's second. He's using it, getting the info. Double drop down. Backs to the possible position, but now they should know where these players might be still out in the open. It was Trent on an island, and Jorg left to do it all. 1v2! Great! 3-piece overall. Spray down into the body for just a bit of extra spice. It's Sentinels up to that 12th.
Every player on Sen is alive and playing some of the best Valorant that we've seen from them this year. Zekken's entries have been fabulous. Narrate, who we've seen struggle with his own individual performance, and the emotional ramifications of that is electric. 15-7, and Zelsis, occasionally a weak point for Sen in kickoff so far, carries on that momentum, top of the scoreboard. This version of Sen is going to be almost impossible to stop.
They got the perfect read. Deep mid push by G2, but no players waiting for them towards that B site. G2 are going to be having to play this in a full 5v5 retake, safe plan. Tuck to the corner, a bit of spam. Aftershock committed, flank. Vital kill, and the rate drops.
Very exposed position for Narrate to be playing now. Zelsis cleared as well.
Half clearance! Should have been punishing.
Zelsis
brought down at the end of the day. G2 finding these players and finding a couple of heads for their troubles. Zekken, too much to overcome into that spot.
G2 get the
NT.
But this would have to be the first of 9 rounds in a row to bring things to overtime. And
shut up.
I mean, if we're thinking back to Sen's ridiculous 19-21 game that we saw in the match against MIBR, they went up 9-3 in that one, and they did kind of toss a bit of a lead, but it wasn't a 12-3 lead. At some point, doesn't matter how well G2 are playing.
अरे और हट जाता ना क्या ये हो रहा था?
Unplug their monitors, I think, to lose this.
There's no room for errors there from G2, despite winning it. You call it that silver lining, but okay, still smiles on their faces, keeping cheery demeanor. Now ult offloaded nice and early. This is Jorgmo just tracking down these players. Zelsis is running for his life. The coverage. right there to help him out over the shoulder.
मारा जाएगा.
Oh, that's desperate play, I think.
It is.
क्या नाम है?
Hoping against hope
Jagemo.
that Zelsis wouldn't get any
Jagemo.
help.
मारा जाएगा. क्या रे?
I'd love to hear the comms in that moment too. They're 12-4 up. I'm sure they're getting a little
मेरी गांड फट रही है.
silly.
गिर जा रहा है बार-बार मैं आके. मारा जाएगा.
Screaming for help.
Here's the triple push.
ये
This is
नक्को
what's
पिक ले.
needed
नक्को.
from G2,
हाँ
honestly.
नक्को ले.
Triple push from them. No kills found. Backs himself up. Play at his advantage. A lot of difficulties. 50-second mark into this round here. Sen not opting into it. All walking away here. Salva's going to be used out towards Vent, but G2 plant themselves. They know they're not taking firm control of that area.
Little bit of info gathered towards mid, so they're not going to commit that rolling thunder. Gonna have it for a retake.
30 seconds left. Lot on balance. Still Armageddon. Forced to respect it. TP forward second. Cuts up the angles, cuts up the gap, and a perfect flash at that.
So good.
Let's go.
Gives him that timing, and Sentinels, they can feel it.
मारता है, इसको मारता है.
And they are hunting it down. Trent. Slightly ajar there. Leaf tucks himself down to hell. Wait a second. Spoke too soon.
Let's go.
But second.
इन्हें 16 HP.
Able to salvage this operation and move it.
कर दो
An early finish to that map. Fake TP trips him out. And that's a 13-4 start in this best of 5 grand finals.
भाई ये तो शुरू होने से पहले खत्म हो गया भाई. भाई क्या हो रहा? 3-0 easy.
My God, Sen look awesome. Every player had their moments. Bang, somebody that I didn't talk about too much, but the way that he's playing around those heaven spots.
Shut up, guys.
And the timings that he's
3-0. Of course it's 3-0. I know. चुर के लग रहे. Settings. तू बात करे या ना मुझसे. टेस्ट योर माइक्रोफोन्स. अरे हाँ वॉइस कैसा बढ़ा तो वो बोल रहे लोले. टे 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 टे. ये बराबर ही, इसको कुछ नहीं करना. फिर माँ की आँख. इतनी जोर से बात कर लेते पर तू क्या इतनी रात को हौला बुल्ला है. जो भी सुन रहा है एक जन. आवाज तो आ रही. छोड़ो रे भाई, अभी स्ट्रीम पे कहीं को बकचोदी. तुम ना क्या देखेंगे, अपन मीम देख लेते बैठना पड़ता, और क्या कर सकते. मीम नहीं देखते, मेरे को देख लेते बैठा, और क्या. अरे मैं इतना डार्क कहीं को ये फोन चूतिया है. फोन बॉल्स, फोन बॉल्स. मेरा हाथ भी इतना गोरा रहे कि काला दिख रहा है फोन में. अरे कान जा रहा रे बैक शॉट देके. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट मैप कौन सा है गाइस? नेक्स्ट मैप कौन सा है? नेक्स्ट मैप कौन सा है?
Red Bull gives you wings.
What is the next? What's next, guys? Which map is it next to? Can someone please tell me in the chat? Yo, please. My manager is fucking sleeping, yo. Motherfucker. Fatty acid. Which map is the next map? Please let me know, guys. I lost some memes, yo, then. Raja ji. 3-0 है रे 3-0 है। अगर सेंटिनल नेक्स्ट मैच जीते चटको स्लीप सीधा स्लीप जाके इजी तक सेंटिनल्स में बोला ना guys, if anyone is watching from Sentinel stream, see I have printed my own logo for you all guys. See, S means Sentinels, A means Anshu, L means loser G2. Thank you, thank me later. Yo please close yo. अब अपन Sentinels और G2 दोनों बाहर की टीम, तो मेरे ख्याल से बाहर के लोग आते होंगे अपने उसमें, उन लोगों को अपन हिंदी सीखो बोलेंगे, अपन इंग्लिश में बात करेंगे। अपन इंग्लिश में बात करें तो ऐसा वेरी जम्बल हार्ट लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, प्लीज़ वेलकम टू दिस स्ट्रीम। विल वॉच सम डिस्कॉर्ड मीम्स आर भयंकर। इफ यू वॉच balls will packed, your balls will get packed sometimes like this meme.
दुनिया के तमाम इंसानों के
This
लिए
old
ईमानियत
Buddha
की
in
ईमानदारी
front of
की
family.
मेहनत करें और
He's
बेईमानी से बचाने की कोशिश
very
करें।
gentleman.
सबका भला चाहें, किसी का बुरा ना चाहें।
जरूर
फुल सेट चला दें वाइफ को, फिर काम भारी कर दिया जाए। एंड होने वाला है, ये अंदर झटके लगाए, चीखें निकल जाएंगी वाइफ की।
ओह, अब ये ट्रांसलेट करना पड़ेगा। When you put your inside, you go inside, come inside, go inside, come inside, come inside, go inside, outside, go outside, come inside, go inside, come. Then your wife should shout. He's the one who will do. Come inside, go. Nah, he's the father of a nation. He's the most respected person in the. Please respect him. Respect my father of a nation. Respect my country. To be honest, not kidding. Don't respect this father motherfucker. See, चीखे निकल जाए, चीखे बोल रहा है। चीखे कब निकलेंगे पता है? जब इनको हम देंगे कैश, इनका ही फोटो रहता है उसके ऊपर, हम देंगे, चीखे निकलेंगे। कुछ भी बोले जा रहा, माफ करो। ये क्या बक रहे हो मादरचोद? ये कल भी देखा। डब विच घोड़ा रखदा, जान जाए माँ चुदाए लड़की के ताड़े हम।
अंधे की बीवी का कत्ल हुआ, गूंगे ने देखा
ना।
तालिबानी वाइग्रा खाके कहाँ चौदम पट्टी कर रहे थे तुम लोग?
सॉरी सर, प्लीज हमें कॉलेज से मत निकलवाइए सर।
इनका और एक दोस्त वाइग्रा खाता है।
और एक दोस्त वाइग्रा खाता है?
सर उसका खड़ा नहीं होता है।
तो फिर किसका होता है? हाँ अभिजीत,
तो फिर किसका होता है? ये मेरे को ये भी देखा, ये भी देखा। T1 भाई थैंक यू फॉर द डिस्कॉर्ड। ओके, मतलब आपके उसमें से देखते हो।
क्या साहब पैसा तो देके जाइए।
काटे में लिख दो।
भाई वो करने की भी हिम्मत नहीं है भाई। अवेंजर्स लोगों को बचाना है। फुलबुद्दीन भाई, फिर ये रात को कैसे भाई? भाई फूल को चोदेंगे तब सच में लोग बोलेंगे भाई आपने फूल को चोदा है। फिर नया आएगा फूल गोभी का भाई।
sometimes need to come out on top of these rounds. And for Celsius, this is such a meteoric performance in the MIBR series and now. You can see his stats average across 2024 compared to that last BO5 in the lower bracket and now this first map of our American.
Full ये क्या है?
ये बना दिया है गाजर पाक मेरी मम्मी ने देखो कैसे बन रहा है ये है मेरी मम्मी कुछ कहना चाहोगे
नमस्ते बाबे दिया मेर जट डोंट केयर ये बात आंटी जी मेरे को भी मिलेगा गाजर का हलवा थोड़ा
ये बना दिया है गाजर पाक मेरी मम्मी ने देखो कैसे बन रहा है ये है मेरी मम्मी कुछ कहना चाहोगे
तू बहन तो चीनी ला दे
बाबे दिया मेर
don't care jat don't care below jat don't care fuck
Can do generation.
gain to generation
Can do generation. Can do generation.
gain to generation gain to generation if you can't guess hold the balls missiles on each other.
It's all well and good, listen, but
अरे
nobody's quite
भाई
hitting
ये
for
मैप नहीं
G2.
देखने का है भाई
We need to see that step up, not just across the board, but on an individual basis as well.
I suppose the hope would be we hadn't seen them play Split, so maybe they were always bad at Split. But we have seen them play Pearl. And we know that while both of these squads are good, Sen at times have found it quite difficult to hold on, although admittedly, I would say mostly on their defense side.
The wall spotted out early just from that drone. Seconds up close. Clone to lead the charge. He's up and over as well on top of it. There's going to be Thorns. Salvo's stuns offloaded. Everything collapsing and colliding into these players. And there's a full separation onto the site. There's just Sentinels left to look in dismay as they were dismantled.
Jonah, either John.
Sen's attacking rounds, when they do these B execs, have a couple of different options, and a lot of it comes down to where they want to put Zekken. Do they want to flash through the smoke in case there's somebody playing a tight crossfire right next to the smoke? Do you want to try to send Zekken with a teleport into back halls and take a fight against someone like Valen who's going to be anchoring there? You will see Sen rotate
Gain do generation
based on what they think G2 are doing. In this round, G2 went for a refight off the back of Jonah P's flash. Worked magnificently.
No plan down for Sen either, so full control on the eco for them over towards A main. As we mentioned prior on Split, a lot of priority being placed on just trying to earn up these ults, especially that dimensional drift. Going up against double Sentinel is going to be one of the only ways you can break through and try and increase the tempo, play a bit faster.
Trent's one of those players where he's going to be using the drone to re-clear through A main.
मेरे को आ रही कुप्पा नींद मैं स्ट्रीम पे सो जाऊं क्या
Send push him back at the start of the round and force out that drone re-clear early where they could still be re-hitting. I think so far so good from
अरे
John's
चल रे बुल चल 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 चल
And it looks like this B setup's going to be tested again. Once more, Valen in backside. What's the option with Zekken? Yeah, this time going for the Halls dive.
Mar.
It's a TP. It's a flash. Almost perfect, but anti-flash, or at least a dodge from Valen.
एक मारो मैं लंड एक मारना please एक मार एक की
extra level of reinforcements once more. एक की मार मैं बोल रहा हूँ बस एक की मार. Drop down to middle of nowhere. It's an impossibility for John at this point. Jonah P's going to step up. He's the one who needs the kills, but he'll be happy as well, just dying. His team can make sure to salvage some of that weaponry.
Proud land.
So far, Jonah P and Valen have held on to the B site admirably.
तू गिरा इस
6 kills for Jonah. As you said, putting one away from that steel guard. Bonus round for G2 coming up. Valen did a great job of being able to hold on to this. Is he going to be able to do the same when Zekken has
Zekken. Payment to Zekken.
John's calling for some A-main control at the start of this as we get back into the third round here. This is the anti-bonus for Sentinels, looking to try to push Trent back. And the Vice setup has swapped.
A hell of a amount of damage early off the rip. As you said, the Vice setup has swapped around. We'll see if that expectation is in the back of the mind for these Sen players. They're going to be full speed ahead. Second TP'd already. In that default spot. There's slipping his way in through the back. This is a nice play indeed. Still dropped down almost single digits. Going to be regenerating back up and alive. G2 trying to opt into the retake, making sure that they hold on to control towards the back and be able to put the squeeze down onto these Sentinels players, especially with Zekken this low. Flash through and around, cuts up to the corner. Naray not expecting it, still off to the side. The players are lining themselves up now, ready for the taking. It's a 2v2 at that, slipping around the corners, 1v1. Bang versus Leaf. Sees his players, the position's noted. Bang out wide, Henter missing. Rattling, the lead fired off. And it's the right click that does it. Leaf on the board, and G2 with the round win. It's not pretty at the end there, but Leaf is using his movement quite well to bait out shots from Bang and secure the damage. Not necessarily the clean headhunter one tap that we've seen from him earlier on, but he got the job done. This was G2 thriving in the chaos. Jorg finding his timing, just wandering into backside, willing to take a risk in that spot.
You doctor? Oh my.
You doctor kya?
Let's put the pressure now immediately on the Sentinels here. Once more with the economy.
Yeah, I actually thought that that was a bonus round from... sorry, of course, it's a bonus round from G2. It's broken the Sen economy, though, completely, hasn't it?
It's going to be flourishing in terms of that money, but...
all
that prior work that was being put down by Sentinels, so Zekken cleared away. Earn a bit of a path, potentially, for a win. And a threat there. Oh, and he's going for it, man. I mean, that's just a clone into the face as well. Leaf was knife out there. I think Zekken just expected that he could potentially get that timing with the Bucky, but...
It's one of those awkward situations where you turn around a corner and bump into somebody and he's thrown their handbag all over the floor. Oh. He wasn't expecting to see someone.
I respect the play. I really do. At that, hold on. Jogamo's gone down.
उधर कहाँ मारा रे उसको ने? किधर जा रहा था उन्हें? घूमते-घूमते.
Second, excuse me, but...
इन लाने लड़ना मस्त मजा आता है तू स्पाइक प्लांट तू करने बुल्ले में तब से प्लांट कर रहा मेरा दिमाग खराब हो जा रहा था बोले
swap positions and died in enemy spawns.
I've got X-ray and my brain's being turned into a pretzel. It's like, well, how do these players feel?
Well, we're gonna.
चैम्बर बराबर है क्या गाइस मतलब इसमें
on B.
ना डबल सेंट्रल खेल रहे हैं.
Thorns popped. John was loving calling these splits through B link before, sending 3-4 players in.
What? My goodness!
Completely catching Trent. Trent not normally going to go for that mid rotate. That was dangerous.
The deep wall as well, critically. Peace of mind in terms of no one stepping over the line, but Jonah P goes up and over the top of it because time was really getting quite short. Zelsa's doing his job and doing it well. Full defense across the board, making sure that every position is accounted for. The guns being picked up as well. Inside the smoke, there's no stepping forwards into that. The domain of Bang. Exactly what the doctor ordered.
G2 got completely flummoxed there, and I've got to admit, so did I. I mean, look at this is how we open the round. Then Jorgamo throws his life away in a 5v4 advantage situation. And G2 getting caught on the rotate.
Good job.
Let's go.
Maybe trying to deny info away from the Vice wall. They just got completely caught out by giving the whole middle of the map to Sen.
Sorry. गलती से हो गया.
you'd think that, wouldn't really be as much of a problem for G2 running this double Sentinel comp. A lot of mid-round information that they can have to work with
yeah,
here,
1 minute, Amen.
Things in the
I'm
hands
pushing,
of
I'm pushing,
G2
I'm pushing,
players
I'm
have
pushing.
a lot to try and
Yeah,
push
I'm
back.
pushing,
Now,
I'm
there's
pushing.
a ton of util
Yeah.
waiting, but an Armageddon at the back feet. Time being taken, knives
I'm stuck,
out,
I'm
just
stuck,
trying
I'm
to
stuck, I'm
evacuate
stuck,
and
I'm stuck.
clears the way. Sen,
Oh my gosh, too much of traps,
variety
so.
of thorns as well. Prickly.
Wow.
Slows down the approach.
This is a big investment from Jorgamo.
He's committing it. Dimensional drift, despite the weaponry not being too good, gets it up into the corner to Rico Star. And our players ready to meet their match. Up close here is Jonah P. Not enough to spray it down. Just collapsing onto
उसकी गांड जब बटी होंगी ना कसम से बोल रहा हूँ
late to the party. Late to the party in the second round.
तीन स्मोक डाल के तीनों एक के सामने ठहर गए ले.
Really questionable decision by
Hands up.
G2 to
बोल के
even be
बोला सीधा.
investing the ult in the first place. And then Jorg throwing good money after bad feels like because he's popped the ult, he's got to find a pick out the back of it. And was hoping that he could find a timing.
मैं को बता रहे
As the
तीनों
plant
बैठे
was
रहे
going
थे.
down and it
देखा
looked like there wasn't too much support on site.
उसके मुंह पे ठहरे थे.
A weird one, a wild one. But G2 are now going to have weapons back.
Let's go.
Let's go. And technically, G2 are still in the lead, but these last couple of rounds are not looking good. Leaf now with an operator, looking to take a pick through mid.
Zellu. अबे यहाँ पर से गाने में मेरे भी.
Force him to respect that line nice and early, but the expectation is there, not quite Sen. Second who just walks straight back into that line of side angle. Leaf reposted TP's back as well. There's a bit of a skirmish occurring here as well. Bullets fired off. A main being contested. A prowler just to make sure you can clear out that trip.
TP मारा रे ने.
Then they're going to play a slower game and a slower round. That's the Phantom in hands and bang. Doesn't push his way back and away from this angle. Anticipating the repeat.
Double missed shots there from Leaf and a really difficult shot to hit the second one.
And these players are just toppling, man. This is G2's defense getting picked to pieces. Tapestry just unraveling before our eyes. And
Viper को देखो.
leaves it just to the three of them. Has to go re-exploring, but danger spot to do it as well.
3 G2 players whiffing on defensive lines here to open up the map completely for Sentinels.
There's no polite way to say it, but listen, maybe Trent can be that saviour.
Oh, he's got it.
Collecting that, hello! Anticipating the recross as well. He's made it more winnable. It's 2v2 now.
They saw Bang earlier on in A main, so Jonah is being very thorough with the clearance here through mid.
Plant ही दे देता ना.
Go wrong for Sentinels, but Jonah P onto that angle, Bang somehow wins that fight out. Steps it up. Cosmic Divide going to be hard committed, and Trent just cannot get out the timing fast enough.
Not nice one. उसके लिए ultimate करना पड़ा.
To go a little bit wrong. The clutch potential shows up maybe for G2. It doesn't matter. Discipline, coordination, zero hesitation from these Sen players, and a timeout has been forced out of G2.
Josh RT has got to get in the ear of the G2 players right now because they're not playing up to scratch. If they want a chance of being able to lift a trophy, you've got to be seeing better stuff out of them than this. Trent does admirably in this spot. I mean, no qualms with what he's doing here. But to lose Jorgamo and then Valen both taking those fights over towards B-Link without it being some big set take. I mean, it was just Narrate poking his nose in, wondering if he could get a free fight. And he did. And 3 kills to boot.
Yeah.
Leaf as well in spots where he would usually be dominating. Yes, he got the opener against Zekken, but then he got shoved off that A-line by, again, just a solo player.
It's insane. Exploring. I mean, listen, if there's one word to describe this series so far, it's just disrespect.
Yes.
Sen are taking liberties, man. Bang. Like you mentioned, he solo lurks through A. Plenty of opportunities for G2 to coordinate a double peek together to clear it. Player back side, Leaf going for the never swing, but it's all individual.
It is. I mean, I think they were trying to hope that Bang would be focused on the player backside when Leaf took his timing with the operator. But the Sentinels players have got great awareness today and confidence. They're not getting scared to take fights. And I think that helps when you've just blasted G2 13-4 on map 1. You feel confident. You don't get shook. You don't get pushed off angles as easily. It is a Sentinels today that has found their footing and believes in themselves that turned up onto the stage. And that's what Kaplan's been looking for, waiting for.
Return to some of the top peaks in form that have been showcased. It's a blind, you hear the drone as well, has to be respect on either side here. So G2, it was a very forward approach.
It's a nice idea actually from G2. You focus on Leaf, Leaf teleports away, and then actually he was baiting all along for Jorgamo. But Sen cleared it with a flash and a drone. Really good awareness from Sen to defuse that trap. And now you look at the A side, it is theirs for the taking.
Yeah. Well, that heavy emphasis with bodies of G2, making sure that they can hold down B long. They've got very little in terms of the way of information.
In theory, coming into this game, G2 more time to prep, VODs to watch. You're thinking that G2 should be the ones coming out with the ante, but Sen have had such great awareness of what G2's tricks are.
Look at this from Sentinels, man. You're up against Stingers, and yet you're still opting in to the close quarters fight as well. Just ripping them to shreds! It's relentless! They're not stepping back. Not giving G2 even a chance for a weakness that they can potentially capitalize on for an ace. Possibilities opened up. Second can go for it, flash into the face. They know that leaps up onto the site, and he's lurking, creeping, crawling behind. There's a Prowler to deal with every single angle.
They're giving it
slowly closing in.
Staring at each other. The way that this round has ended and the way that it played out, I think showcased the difference in mentality between these two teams today as well. Sen are confident, loose. In fact, arguably a bit overconfident in these spots. Every time they've been up against a G2 eco, they actually push forwards, take the aggro, take the risk. That can be dangerous. It can cause you to get ecoed and lose your momentum, but it is consistently catching G2 off guard because it's not what they're expecting.
No, the expected play is what G2 live and breathe.
Garlic bread, 300 rupees.
High risk, high reward plays are just working out over and over and over again. Sen are hitting like this.
Teho drone completely cleared B long. I mean, utterly cleared B long. So they're not worried about the operator being there. They know that it's somewhere around mid, but believes in his haunt maybe a little too much. Although that was going towards R. Maybe just getting in position for a Prowler.
First kill for G2. It's been a while.
So
they potentially had that first kill advantage. It's a 5v4 now that they're going to want to let slip when the momentum be on the side of Sentinels the last few rounds. Here, Dimensional Drift now committed. Zekken turns himself his way towards it. He's going to be picking out these players' positions, and he knows exactly where they are. Flash, just to make it awkward, just to make it tricky. Salvos, and again, pushed forwards. It's out of the frying pan into the fire. And Trem will attempt to return it. Just drop Zekken.
Bang is very alone.
Dodge. Bang is super alone right now. Sidestep towards it. Backup arriving. G2 doing damage. Weakening it up. John QT. He's having a sidestep this with a Hunter's Fury up in his face. Cosmic Divide. And John QT ahead of it. Thorns buying that space, buying that timing. Dart broken and dealt with. It's up close here. It's going to come down to the gunfights. The discipline of G2 needs to reign supreme. They can't take these individuality. They do it. It's a high-low setup and swinging right through and just not set up for that refight. Not with the wall in your face, not with the thorns at your feet, just kind of working against him there. So G2, they answer back, they get that fourth, they're going to make it even in this map.
A better round. Sen there taking risks. Not quite managing to pay off. They were looking for this aggression from Bang to deliver results. Instead, it's one where it flies back in their face and Sen end up looking a little separated. He picks up the operator again. Swapping things around, a deeper trademark placement. Normally sitting that one a little more passively. This time pushing it up so that Sen can't explode with Vice Ultimate in an A split.
Leaf. Rendezvous just set towards the back of Link.
He's looking for Narrate again, basically.
Yeah, potential to go for the P, but he did that last round, so it doesn't want to be too predictable. He needs to mix it up. Sen, though, all eyes towards mid, taking our control. Prowler spots it out, so they know exactly where that operator is going to be lying. Good tag, Zekken. So want to try and take this fight. Looks likely they're going to be using Util on top of it and leave. He's just cycling through the weaponry.
Yeah, he was worried about that split coming through through mid and around behind him. Pushing Trent completely out through water there, made Leaf's position look bad. Now Jorg is the last hope for G2. He's got a weird spot here in A main.
He has to dominate this fight. If he wins this one out, means that A main is not going to be safe for him, and he does win it out. So Bang, drop. No more smokes as well to play around, but we'll see if Sen have the protocols to try and reclear this one, but Dimensional Drift is earned up, so Jorgo can get out back to safety. Spots him out. 2 through main. Doesn't know where the last is, but Zelsis is a common position to play indeed. They've been watching the VODs. They're going to know he's around. Time dwindling, though. It's running short. The longer they take, the more stall that Sen are going to be operating off of. Jorgo, he's left with his head on a swivel. He knows that there's that potential for the replay, and he can already hear it ticking away with the spike in hand. Gunplay in order. And shots need to be fired, bodies need to topple. G2 need to really win this one out, defend that defuse that's really coming through, and Valin his confidence fully into the rest of his team. They stick it out, and they take the lead.
G2 are starting to find their rhythm here. These rounds resemble much more what was happening in G2 Sen the first time we saw these two teams play. On Pearl as well. Jorgamo dominating A main. Sen struggling with it a little. For example, and the positioning in the post plant is very predictable. As you said, Zelsis is always going to be over towards Art.
Bro, these kids are playing so scrimmy, bro.
That's actually such a great comment, though, from Leaf, because it shows what we're talking about. They are taking risks where you wouldn't normally expect them to. But that point of view from Leaf might be one of the reasons, and listen, no disrespect to Leaf, he's been amazing, but he has been on a lot of teams that have choked their opportunities before in the past. Not just with G2, but also in the past with his Cloud9 teams. They've been known to drop out of playoff moments. And I think maybe some of that is not necessarily because G2 frees up in important games, but because they're not willing to go for the play, to take the risk, to make the big moment in the spot where it matters most.
Yeah, expecting almost like a gentleman's agreement. Going to play a fair, honest game of Valorant.
Or maybe
no
just
funny business.
Expecting the opponent to be scared of losing.
Right.
Because that's what makes the difference between a match and a scrim. In a scrim, who cares if you lose it?
Oh.
People are running it down.
If you're losing, you're learning.
Right, but in a match, it actually does have weight. It has importance, and so people don't normally take risks that are going to devastate you if they don't work. And Sen here today are throwing caution to the wind, realizing they gotta go and make the play and play together.
The experience of having the wins in the past, something to draw on from prior experience. I mean, Sentinels have it. Most of these players, if not all of them, know what it's like to win. Leaf being defended here. A lot of the Utah needs to be committed. Okay. Clone's going to be taking a bullet for it. Zekin not slowing down in the slightest. Wants to try and take these angles back and away from them, but TP backs. Trying to set themselves up into a potential Art split. In through A.
Trent going for the drone.
Armageddon. He's going to clear out most of the way into pit, but it pours and it pushes the players in forwards into it. That's a deep flash. Jorgamo wanted to take the fight straight to them, but players are ready for it. Even Art on a flash was just slightly off.
I think it got caught in the smoke.
Yeah. Didn't quite get the value he was looking for here. Still, it's going to be darts and Util ricocheting outwards. Finally dropped and dealt with. TP's on top of it. Everybody playing back and away now. Sin getting themselves into that post, and he's just using the salvos here to start. Recall. John lucky to cross and lucky to keep his life intact. There's bullets flying down on top of him. Nightfall, not quite. That's going to be the steel guard.
That's going to help with the retake. They need the guns.
Almost certainly. Pushed back, just a pull. It's going to be minus time for them. Still, fight needs to be won out second. He's the one with the rifle swinging wide and around. And Sentinels maintain control and that composure, even when G2 were happy to lay down the ults, happy to lay down that pressure.
Zekin dodged it too, didn't he? Managed to dip out in A main and came back still with the Phantom in hand. But composure's a great word because G2 lost it there. That's a solo play from Jorgamo. He wasn't synced with Trent. Whether that's a comms issue, whether that's Jorg being too aggro, Trent being too passive, hard to say from the outside. But the flash didn't catch properly, and it wasn't coordinated. G2 on another eco. 5-5, but Sen very likely to be the winners of this half.
Money just rolling for them. It's an eco push from G2 out towards mid. They're not shying away, making it known that they've taken that control, just rattling off the bullets, which Rate's going to be able to hit.
Haven't really seen any classic huge impact from Leaf pushing out on defense.
Out towards the B site.
Dorne laga
Double step up over towards the wall. Not sure if that was just not comms in order, but still Sen are going to get easy and open access to this B site. There's no one holding to try and anchor. It's a retake flash that's planted up onto the high ground by Jonah P, but they don't have the weaponry even to try and go for it.
Full offsite play from Sen. Relying on their util, relying on the better spam. Not caring about the smokes that are available from
generation.
It's fast from G2. Regain control towards backside back halls. They know that there's going to be players. Corral pushed up into the corner. Leaf's going to be spotting at least a few of them. And oh no, revealed and spammed down. Box, not a sufficient defense. And the rifles, as we said, happy to play into it here for Sentinels. They know they've got the util. And with that firepower advantage, it's just inevitability.
Was that it?
That B execute is one that was allowing G2 a couple of rounds at the beginning of this half. We saw them run it in round 1 and round 3, I believe. Or maybe round 1 and 2. And G2 easily held it with Valen and Jonah P. This time Sen choose an anti-eco round to run it, where G2 are more likely to be stacked over towards A, over towards mid. John using that conditioning to find a bit of a free round. G2 would need to win this one just to tie things up here.
Here's a fast take out towards A. There's no pushback from G2, just a few shock darts.
The reaction though from mid, Leaf, Jorg walking up.
All the way out. Back spotted just onto the shoulder. He's gonna have to B-hop his way to safety and leave. This is disrespect. Fighting fire with fire. The thorn in the sides for G2 consistently, but look at the awareness!
Yeah, they got the read. I was just saying we hadn't seen Leaf pushing on defense very much. And there, the one round he does it, hearing both Bang and Celsius run towards the rest of the team in A main.
Sentinel
gets caught.
Sick pick.
At the same time though, G2 have full knowledge that everyone on set is in that position. So now you see John, Bang, very cautious, extremely diligent reclear through mid, through spawn. Wondering if there could be another nipping at their heels. And Jonah, he's thinking about it, but at the moment he's just playing to contain and playing for sound, hoping he can hear them if they rotate back to B.
Yeah.
And it's allowing G2 to keep this triple stack on the A site. Danger not fully averted here through John's calling.
There's
no time for a pivot either. We're down to 30 seconds roughly.
बीमन पुश करके बैठा हुआ है इन लोग इन्फो है बीमन कोई नहीं है अभी तक मिड पे ट्रैप है
hoping that somebody just opens themselves up, but that's going to be the call made forwards, pressing the advantage that potentially they've got, but it is chaos all across the site. And Jorgamo, make sure to step into that smoke.
Fight on the flank.
Yeah, and this is going to be still with 12 seconds remaining. Jonah P, he's taking out Bang. Celsius left in that impossible scenario. He's jumping around, he's leaping around. Util out into his hands, wins out the fight, but no time. Yeah, it's just ran short. And so 6-6.
Ending the half with a bit of a whimper. But G2 will be so much happier about their performance there. It's still not what we've seen from them thus far in kickoff, but more resistance shown. More rounds in this half than they got in the whole of Ascent. The whole of Split, sorry. Sen is still looking sharp though.
Absolutely.
Exactly what I'm saying.
Smiles on their faces, and G2 has got to be the long con when you're looking at the best of fives. Now, Rim is standing by currently with 2 struggling streamers in desperate need of some subs. Can we get any tier 3, potentially some primes?
We are back here in the streamer booth, and I'm joined again by Tarek, and this time Masayoshi. A little bit better of a game here, Masa. I'm going to come to you first. How are you feeling about the game? How's Sen looking so far? What do you think the outcome's going to be?
Dude, they're looking collective. They're like one unit right now. Honestly, I think...
Bing bye, good evening. Tens by good evening. यार 3K 4K में से एक के दे दे यार. मुझको 100K बना लो.
Things seem to be going all right, you know. Is that aura not there? Are the planets aligning for you now? What's going on?
Ninu namadayo. Ninu namadayo. क्या करूँ इसमें अब? ये वाला अकाउंट नहीं चलाना बल्कि बोल रहे चलाना अपन अब कुछ भी चलाए तो हो जाता.
All right, 6-6 going into it here. I'm really glad that Tarek's brought up Zelsis as a focal point, because in the previous game that we were watching of G2 playing against Sen on Pearl, Zelsis was that weak point. He was actually getting abused playing this B-Link position. But yeah, I don't know if he ate his Weetabix or if he's been taking the cold showers or whatever it is to get ready for this game, but we'll let Tarek do the investigative journalism on that, and for us, just witness the difference.
Stepping forwards, hold on. Only the one reveal. Shock darts to try and push these players back, but they are caught into the corner. G2, that's an emergency evacuation with the Thorns to try and help it.
The reaction over towards B, though. Realizing that A main is pushed, B should be weak.
Last catches, that's information. Celsius setting that one off, but still the committal into the site. G2, you can hear it now, the rumble of the footsteps. John QT, get the salvos primed, but it's not something you can really use off just the sound cue to try and deny the plan. We're a bit too slow for that.
Activity in the post plan, good to see from G2. Got red last time by Sentinels on split.
It's all about catching that player right there, so Zelsis taking out this lane position. A lot of control for G2, and the flashes are beautiful on that. They're meeting them pound for pound with these pistols in hand. Shock darts rebounding, cacophony of util. And John is left to pick up those pieces, see if he can forge a path to victory into this pistol, but he knows he's got a lot to do and a lot to account for. Leaf making sure that he holds down, lays claim to that angle. And G2 with a pistol, so it's a narrow lead at that, but they're going to want to keep it going.
The early pressure from Sen through A main almost got a kill, I want to say. But Valen made the right call to try to react into B, and then that post-plant aggression. It's all about anticipating it. On split,
nice, boys.
Sen had exactly the read on where G2 were going to go. They knew every time, okay, if they're going A, they're going to plan for heaven. We need to be stopping them from doing that. This time it looked like Zelsis got caught out a little bit in that spot. Not quite expecting G2 to go re-exploring B-Link.
Salvos onto the Yang. I mean, Leaf, only danger of losing the Ghost here, but just looking to try and contain, because again, the game plan hasn't changed for Sentinels when they're on these ecos, but it does open up the entirety of the A side, so we're going to be looking at a pretty standard round.
Yeah. It's very difficult to push mid against G2's composition. You can see Leaf playing around his own vice wall there, but he also puts the trademark on the opposite side too, so if you're pushing on defense through mid, you can't really go anywhere without giving away exactly what you're up to. So Sen, I think, are going to have to be playing really clean retake style or early fighting towards A and B main.
Might be able to cook up a kill or two. These players are hyper pushed up and pressured into the corners here, but, well, with that many bodies and a weaponry differential, it's almost inevitable.
Usually, you're going to see teams trying to die to spike in that spot so that they don't feed the ults.
Celsius, he's desperate for one, man.
And look, they have fed the ults. Jorg and Jonah P are getting pretty close, and those are probably your two best ultimates for winning attack side rounds. Jorg is only one away. So do Sentinels now want to fight for an ult orb? Do they think, all right, Jorg is probably going to be fighting for A main ult orb. Should we set up a trap play over there? You can't fight for them both. So there's a little bit of a risk gamble involved.
Because you don't care.
Decision is.
Yeah.
Stainless for the win.
Does look like they want to brawl in A main though.
First time in lead now.
Jorgamo not necessarily with them.
They're going to see that early util being used. In fact, Jorg's making his way over towards Dart and mid. Things being sent. It's going to be deep Dart and the clone on top of it. Taking control of the middle of the map, and that's going to be putting him into confusion. Adding some question marks to the backs of the minds of these Sen players, wondering where these players could be from G2. It's a deep TP. It's going straight into the side as well, and Jorgamo might be looking for a cheeky kill. So John is quite aware of it, but ran down in the end.
A main though.
Yeah, they're not having control of this one. Nice though, cut to the corner, and this could be the difference. Playmaker, he's got to worry about being pressured on multiple fronts, but just backs himself, and if he plays his life, the longer and the more winnable it gets for Sentinels. G2 got to be really worried about this one, just missing these timings. 2 outlaw bullets, no fruition, and getting a move on, a tap and a plan, and they're backing away straight to mid, but bang those all at this point.
Can Zelsis get there in time? If Zelsis runs, they'll hear him and they'll know where to anticipate him, so he's got to take the slower timing, which probably allows Valen the plant.
30 seconds left.
Zelsis is going to be deading those thorns, but all deaded. G2 not giving up the site though. Everybody grouped up towards it. And that flash drops down, but G2, it's not quite made for the retake there. Bang's forced to just save, scurry away the rifle for a rainy day, which is going to be next round.
G2 baited out the wall in that position, and it kind of makes it think like G2 are trying to play off-site, and some of them might have been split up, and instead all three of them are just crouched in front of the wall, waiting to punish Zelsis. This round definitely got tricky. G2 are leaving it completely up to Trent with his drone and with his recon to try to clear A main alone, which means he has to play so safe. And this round, they actually ended up clearing A main by going through the site and then back into A main, backwards on themselves.
Yeah.
So, awkward, and it might give Sen the idea that fighting for A main actually is the right choice.
Not get much easier though for Sentinels at this point, because bonus round conversion of G2.
Yeah, G2 are fully back into this.
And a dimensional drift for Jorgamo to play with.
You do not want to allow G2 an opportunity to feel like they're back in the game. You caught them off at the beginning. You hit them with a big punch. They were reeling. They didn't look like their mental was in it either. And now Sen have let off the pressure a little.
This is respect being showcased. I mean, you can see it. Weaker weapons by Sen, but still offloaded towards these ultimates, and a lot of emphasis being placed. They've got to win out this A main fight as well as flashes at their feet, and the TP is forced out, so they've cleared out A main. No worries here for G2, but players getting a bit of a move on. Sentinels looking to try and see if they can shore up the defense over towards A, but it's pulled them away. Information across the map at the same time.
One of the things that John was doing so well on defense split was recognizing when G2 were going for fast hits and full gamble rotating. So G2 ended up getting red. I think again here they were expecting Jorg's Yoru ult to be the signal for a fast A execute. And now they're forced to go and re-explore and look for info.
Be open, no, Celsius bro, go back.
Drone even just spotted as well, Valen, so
run back.
Still stacking players over towards A.
They've got a nice timing though. Narrate, he just used a haunt to clear B long. G2 have heard that, seen that, now they can just walk up, knowing that Sen are pretty much relying on util to get info here rather than bodies and guns.
Celsius did hear footsteps though, so now they can start the mass migration. Jorgamo's the one with the plan. Place down, Salvos, oh my goodness, he is in a very tight spot. Between a rock and a hard place, some might say. Still, his team is willing to bail him out. Make sure they've got that gunplay happening, working. There's only 12 seconds left, and you've got to try and stick this at some point here to seize. Hard committed. The gun's it's just not there for Sen. They can't try and play fast and loose into this one, but maybe Zelsis from behind.
With the Sen bundle.
But they're aware of it. They spot him out. As the rifles making sure they've got that swift dismissal. Full side control. They know exactly where John is and where he's going to be trying to play towards. It's 10-6. G2, more than a string of rounds.
If there were guns online in this round, I think Sen would have made
Sentinels,
very dangerous if not been able to take it. But G2 were allowed the opportunity to play slow, play scrappy, because any of these long-range fights are just destined to go the way of G2 with their rifles. Kaplan's called a tactical timeout. He wants to reassess what's going on. They've lost 4 rounds at the beginning here of Pearl. It's actually quite early to go for an attack timeout. I know it's 10-6, and if G2 start getting more and more rounds on the board, it could almost be game over, but you haven't even really seen a rifle round here. So there's not too much tactically to discuss. There's a little bit though. One of the things might be to focus pretty heavy on A main control. You could try to tuck Zekken into that spot. One of the things might be to avoid areas where Jonah P can get value out of the Vice ultimate, because that's something G2 are surely going to be using in round 17 here.
And I think as well, all the
it's
more likely
already
as well.
5 guys.
It's just the fact that
too early to wake up.
They are scraping the bottom of the barrel with their buy. Their money and economy is going to be plummeting if they end up losing this one, despite the loser's advantage or loser's bonus that they have just from losing the rounds. 4 in a row so far. G2, they win this one. They'll be punching Sen down. For Sen, it is that must-win.
Sendia, can you invite me to?
Like you said, it's not too much in terms of tactics.
Any match now?
It's only been just really the one rifle round being played, but Cap could call a little bit of a set play, maybe see if they can get an early advantage. It's one thing you can do on the backside of this.
I mean, I think the adjustment, just looking at the minimap here for Sentinels, is going to be to have Zekken set up early with Astra and Teho utility to lock down B long. Look here, he's got 30 seconds off the back of this gate crash to play aggressive B long, and then he's got another one, so a minute on the clock where he can lock down B alone.
G2 are making moves.
He's going to be under pressure here because this is a B split.
It is. No one's really going to try and watch his back in. Forced to go back into a defensive position. He's postured away from the angle. G2 have lane control through main. So Steel Gardner's going to be getting a ton of useful, not just information. I mean, Zekken's just pushed out into the open. Perfect timing with the peek from Leaf.
They knew it left a little gap there and he covered it with the op. It's so good from G2.
Plant down on top of it.
Halls is about to get annihilated with Teho util.
And here it is. Salvos, you pushed G2 forwards, but they're backing away. They're saving.
They're saving! 4v5 on B, allowing G2 to get up to 11 in that spot. I mean, we very rarely see big saves like this. Yeah. The strat worked perfectly for G2 coming out of this. We've got enough time with the save to watch it all in slow-mo. G2 are not even thinking about going hunting for guns yet. They're like, all right, now surely the retake's coming through at some point, right? This is...
It's a really hard spot the center just been pushed into because of what we were talking about during the timeout. Because of how important the guns are.
Yeah, their economy is in tatters. It's... What, your chances of winning a 4v5 retake in a spot like that probably about 20%, maybe less. Yeah. So, yeah, probably less, probably more like 15 if you're looking at the numbers. So, it's the percentage play. But this match so far has been defined by Sen taking those risks and being rewarded for it. And now you're giving the game to G2 a little. No room for error here.
5 in a row for G2. Looking to make it 6. Stepping forwards. It's a flash and a dart. It's going to clear the way over towards A main. Drone. Making it feel like they're trying to go a bit of an A exec, and it's pulling players away from them, and it is essentially looking like a bang. With a bit of spam, making sure to lock down that spot in a position. It's just the one choke point to worry about. There's that late lurk from Leaf, which could be a bit of a problem, but now Sen are using a drone, just trying to clear this one out, and they just see Leaf, so they know exactly what's going to be occurring. Potential to catch these players. Valen's just spraying down, committing into the rifle play. Jonah P hard committing. He's going to be stepping up onto the site now. Wincon's needed for G2 here. Sees at the feet. It's going to be locking it down. On top of it, there's going to be smokes in the face. A Cosmic Divide. Pure chaos. Not a lot to play with. Trent still sticking. Nothing from Sentinels to push this one back, but they're happy to wait it out. Zekken, dimensional drift for this retake. He's going to be joining his team momentarily as soon as this Cosmic Divide dissipates.
This is going to be a late retake attempt because Zekken was so far away.
Time to turn up the tempo. Jonah P, did he make a sound cue here? He has to be potentially that knife in the back, but no. Reveals it early, just gets the one before the trade comes through. Leaf watching up and over the angle. Flash is not doing too much at all. Zekken, Shorty knocks him down. 4 bullets left. Unbelievable. Superstar performance from Zekken.
Hits the Red Bull clutch in a spot that you should never see somebody win. They had to wait for him to go all the way. Marching from B to A, rips the dimensional drift and somehow takes it. What was this? He used 3 different weapons for the 3 different kills. But the shot on Leaf is spectacular. It's a pre-fire, anticipating that peek through. What a hero. What a hero when
he's
Sen
a
needed
hero
it.
because of me.
They would have been out
I
of the
taught
game.
him how to play.
Truly.
I teach.
Truly would have. Let's put the op into Zekken's hands. That's a bit of extra bite to the defense. Got to deal with that util though. That's going to be spotting it out. Flash up and over the top. Jorgamo, do you dare step over this? Sees, don't think that connected. Does not indeed. He's going to be spamming around to the corners. Into the common positions in case there are some Sentinel players lurking around. John with the reclear now, getting the drone in, but this
Zekken fighting Trent over towards A main.
Yeah. Fluidity from Sentinels, trying to make a go of it. Just barely a shoulder to the jiggle. But a shot missed, nevertheless. Thorns
Yeah,
at the feet of the G2 players. Narrate just going for a bit of a peek.
Bold, very bold.
Leads
to the 4v4. No util, no double swing. Is Zelsis going to go for a jump up here?
40 seconds left.
Zelsis
could be that playmaker, tucked to the corner into this spot.
He's in a tough position because they've given up the whole of B-Link.
The wall's going to give him a gap to play in, though. If they trigger this, put it up, and it's going towards his side. Starts it down, dodges the flash. Shocks are flying forwards, but the Thorn's still dead anyway. That dart is inside the smoke. They are unaware of this, and here's that corner! And the collapse from Sentinels. Put him in the vice grip. Jorgamo, let's do a lot from this spot. It's only 9 seconds remaining. The tap. There's discipline now in from Sen, and they realize that they've won it. That was just bang securing the round.
There was a couple milliseconds there, honestly, where Jorg might have been able to get the spike down, but chooses to play for the attack side op instead. 11-8. G2 take a tactical timeout here. And Sen, they've got themselves back into it. It was looking absolutely dire, but with 2 big rounds. And especially from second, the one prior that we watched, 1v3. They've managed to cut the gap. In that round as well, so one of the big adjustments coming out of the tactical timeout that Kaplan took, going into round 17, was that they wanted Zekken to fight for extremities more. They had 2 rounds where Zekken pushed up deep on B and had to teleport away to hold. And in this last one, Zekken was part of like the skirmish, let's say, over towards Art, and then went on a re-clear to try to fight Trent. And that means it's not so much that people are dying in A main for G2, but G2 are not controlling A main at any point, and that makes A splits really difficult. It almost takes them off the table. Good luck running an A split if you, if you're going to be running into Zekken in that area. So that's one of the things that I think Josh RT will be assessing. Is it worth it to be trying to invest more resources over towards A?
Level 13.
Or should we just assume that Sen are leaving B quite weak and start trying to find Zelsis?
It's a lot to think about. G2 trying to play this attack now. As you mentioned, just trying to piece together way to work around what Zekken has been doing as his adjustments himself. He's still got the operator in hand. He's probably not going to be meeting too many players, but you never know. Bit of presence from mid, but for G2 here and now, it's drone sent out, flying forwards towards B. The goal might be to try and spot the operator. Does clear it out close.
This to me looks like they're going to try to push back Zekken if he is over towards B, and then go for an A re-clear. I don't know if we're going to see them go straight into a B split though, perhaps. Valen and Jonah are drifting back towards the middle of the map. But it's a B-leaning default anyway, whereas usually they've been going towards Art or B-link. So Josh has adjusted something, and yeah, it is going to be that late round, mid-round kind of re-clear towards A main. And I think they'll be expecting to meet Zekken here. It would be most standard, but Narrate's just given away that it's the Fade covering this spot now.
You just needed the mid-round info with that Prowler.
He can't fight it as well as Zekken would be able to. Fade doesn't have the ability to teleport out.
Looks like he's still going to square up though. Just jiggling. A few bullets laid off, and he does have the knife full as well to try and help him out. Decay kicking in, but not enough to stop those bullets. Trent, full speed ahead. Now he's getting a move on. A quick tap, seeing if there is that response in terms of the util, and with the smokes in the face of Zekken. Can't quite make a play. Holding down some of this ground. It's critical for the Sen retake occurring here. For G2, they're looking to take it one step further. They've lurked their way all the way through, in through the back. There's a slight gap into the window, but it's being watched for. Shorties! My God, just finding a cranium, and Jorgamo just backs himself in through main. The 2v4 in the blink of an eye with the Hunter's Fury at that. Tail end of it, getting that damage, flash through into the smoke. There's no respite. It's 12 rounds now for G2, and 4 chances for Sen to try and claim OT.
Lovely value coming out of the back of the tactical timeout from Josh RT. I really like that B-leaning default into the A-main re-clear. Don't quite understand what Narrate was thinking, holding his space there. Throwing out the Nightfall is fine, but you got to play behind cover and wait for your teammates to play in. He just tried the wide swing.
It's okay.
G2 slow, controlled, getting their heads back into the game, making sure they prioritize those fundamentals. And now they're on that point.
This is where it's going to get just the utmost difficulty for Sentinels to try and hold this one back. Dimensional Drift, Jorgamo is going to grab that information once more. It's going to be using it to see if he can set the path and clear the way. They know the wall's not quite there. Jorgamo knives out, just trying to bait that fight out. Still Jorgamo, how is he getting the one before the trade comes through? Shorty's out, and the players are just flooding their way back in. This is desperation from Sentinels, but is it going to be enough? Not quite. G2, they even up that scoreline. It's 1-1 in the maps. And Valen just testing the crowd, arms up in the sky. Got a long way yet to go with his best of 5.
In theory, Sentinels map pick, but in a series like this where G2 had double map elimination, not sure how much you can really play into that fact. G2 though look like they're back in terms of that team coordination and confidence in terms of the plays that they're taking too. Was it the cleanest map we've ever seen from them? Not necessarily, but it's a good bounce back based on what we saw on Split. 1-1 and anybody's game. I'm inclined to agree with Masayoshi. We've got a hell of a BO5.
We absolutely do. Being treated here between these two teams as well. Massive step up. Revenge on the cards. A title potentially for G2. They're desperate to earn that themselves. Hell of a way to go yet until we get to that point still. It's Abyss up. Coming up next for map number 3. Don't go anywhere.
Got a bunch of different mice.
Find the one. You know it's the one. Look at this. Isn't this perfect?
누가 만들었는지 알려주는 것도 같이 들어있고.
This mouse is ready for a fashion show.
It's Pulsar by me.
It's by me.
It's Pulsar by you.
वो भी ये बंद है. ऐसे वाले अमेरिकन भी एक है उसको दिखा तुम डर जाते सेम फेस कट.
और कोई भी आदमी अपने आप को इस तरह पीछे से नहीं मार सकता.
करेक्ट. तुम्हारी हमारी दोस्ती जमेगी.
नाइस टू हियर दैट. मैंने तो सुना था कि आप जरा
क्रैक है. ठीक सुना है तुमने. तुम एक बहन की लोड़ी हो.
A bad workman always blames his tools. A bad workman always blames his tools.
There is an imposter.
अरे मूड खराब कर दिया.
अबे पहना क्यों रे, माना क्यों तू ऐसे हरकत करने के लिए?
Frank in the ladies room. Hey ladies.
Hey, Musa.
What for more exciting? Videos, please subscribe.
Balls packed, huh?
Frank in the ladies room. Hey ladies.
Hey, Musa.
What for more exciting videos, please subscribe.
भाई अगर कुछ ऐसा बन सकता है ना, बता रहा
ब्रो अगर ऐसा कुछ बन सकता है चिड़िया के लिए, अगर मुझे घर बनानी है इधर, मैं उनके लिए हेयर स्टाइल कर सकता हूँ भाई, क्योंकि भाई पेड़ तो तुम लोग काट रहे हो वैसे भी। हाँ, बिल्डिंग मतलब क्या बोलते हैं, सिटी इंप्रूवमेंट्स बना के
Can I see you as my crush?
वो कौन सी चीज है जिसको जितना मर्जी मारें उसको कुछ भी नहीं होता और हम काफी एंजॉय करते हैं।
बोलना था नहीं।
औरत
सॉरी मैं इतना गंदा नहीं हूँ, ये मीम है, मैं कल प्रिडिक्ट करा, वो आया ऐसा तो मेरी गलती नहीं है, मेरे को मत बोलो, वो मीम गंदा है, मैं तो प्रिडिक्ट किया बस, आई जस्ट प्रिडिक्टेड। वैसे तो मुठ भी,
वो कौन सी चीज है जिसको जितना मर्जी मारें उसको कुछ भी नहीं होता और हम काफी एंजॉय करते हैं।
औरत
एंजॉय कैसे करते हो भाई?
वेखी खड़की दिया च हाथ छड़ीरा नी कोले खड़ जी प्यार बढ़ के, अज वेखी किवें सुरता पलाउंदा नी उतो हाथ मेरा थोड़े भरीगा, डब विच घोड़ा रखदा नी उतो यार तेरा कोड़े भरगा।
वो सब जानते उसका मूंछ क्यों है, मूंछ है इसके
नी कोले खड़ जी प्यार।
पता नहीं भाई, गलत सोचता नहीं हो भाई, हो जाता है अपने आप।
Glowing, you look amazing. Stop it, girl. No, I won't stop it. You look too good.
Stop. Nah, bro. Nah.
एंड ये मेरे को अराउंड 250-260 का पड़ा है। ओह, मेरे को लगा ये पूरा एक साथ आएगा। ओके, वियर्डेस्ट अनबॉक्सिंग एवर, नॉट एट ऑल सेटिस्फाइंग। फर्स्ट थिंग्स फर्स्ट, शांति, वी डोंट नीड ब्रास एक्चुअली, आई नो। इसका स्टिक ऑन इज सो गुड। मेरे को लाइक प्राइस वाइज लग रहा था कि पता नहीं कैसा ही स्टिक ऑन।
अरे सुधरो रे, अभी तो सुधर जाओ।
माफ करो भाऊ, माफ करो। मैं क्यों रुका मेरे को ही पता नहीं उधर। ए प्लेक हो रे बाबा, बाबा यू हैव टफ टाइम बाबा, टेच बाबा। क्लिक की नहीं हो रहा इधर कुछ।
G2 towards the end of this map, after that pause from Josh RT, really slowed the game down a little bit. We're a lot more thorough in being ready for this forward place, setting up the proper coordination between players we know them for, and that got them back into this series.
Yeah, that's what their comp is going to excel at. When they're on attack, they can take the game slow, nullify that defensive aggression, and come out on top.
Well, we did get an opportunity to hear from the G2 camp. Let's jump over to the Sentinels side with Coach Kaplan, get his thoughts going into map 3.
Here with Kaplan ahead of map 3, a split looked really great. Talk to me about what was going right there.
Yeah, I mean, we just had a bunch of plans. We figured, what are they going to try to do when they watch our VOD back, and let's get a step ahead. And I would say it worked really well, and we were shooting real straight, and they looked a little nervous.
All right, so looking ahead to map 3 now, what needs to be shored up from that map 2?
Yeah, I mean, we lost both pistols. It happens, but then we got set plans for the first guns, and we just goofed. We're in good spots and messed them up. So we're just going to make sure we're real drilled and make sure we nail those early rounds so we don't get snowballed.
Kaplan, thanks as always. Good luck in the series.
गेल चोदी चल रही
Well, we're getting back into it here. It's map number 3 in our best of 5 grand finals between Sentinels and G2. G2 are our uppers team. They've had that advantage with the map pick bans, and they can essentially decide which way this is going to be going and which direction on top of it.
There's a lot to play for here too. It's not just that trophy in Americas. Zelsis obviously has talked so much about wanting more of them. Valen has been craving one after they got second place in stage 1, stage 2. But there's also champs points on the line, and I think that's super important. I mean, that was the whole reason that Sen made it to champions last year.
Yeah.
Was because of that early season success.
I mean, they were tied with 100 Thieves and they won the head-to-head.
Yeah.
But they had to have the points to even get to that point of being tied. So champ points are important. At this point, it's hard to kind of like scale your mind to that kind of fashion.
Oh, okay.
Think about it. There's a difference. Okay, John, up onto the Tejo. Potential counterplay for maybe some of the stuff that Leaf likes to get up to, you know, when he's trying to take that deep control by bunny hopping around the corner. He's got his TP in predictable locations.
I think it must be. We often see G2 on the defense side tucking. Actually, they can play it with Leaf or Jorgamo, but tucking somebody into that little bookshelf that you see in mid.
Yep.
And I got to imagine that either John is going to be looking to break the very predictable placement of the rendezvous, or he's looking to just do damage and clear out that spot. Have to keep an eye on that one. Certainly was something that they could have gone for pretty heavily over towards Pearl as well. But there was even more util on that map to clear out, because they also had to deal with the Vice util. G2 not opting for the mid defense here as we get started in an important pistol. G2 are clearing out B with 4 players.
Deep push.
And no one to hear this.
G2 भी push कर रही है अब तो.
All relatively unknown.
कितने ना? सोवा इन्हें 3 लोग
It's going to slow them down at all here. Leaf is primed and ready, at least onto their position. High ground, but postured away, back. And now, Ray ended up flying forwards to the paranoia. It's an open sight, so full heaven into this post plant. Yeah, full heaven control, but unaccounted for.
Only back watching it. Zelsis goes back as well to try to help with this.
Salvos just that primed and ready.
Choco.
Leaf dodges it, but here it is. Tapping to the foots, and the rifle, not quite, as the pistols in hand. Jorga's doing enough for them. Overwhelming the presence that Sen are trying to get going over towards their defense, and that is just phenomenal work.
Exactly as they drew it up. The flank worked to perfection. Sentinels didn't actually have a good idea of where that retake was coming from. I thought that with Sen having only seen the chamber in backside, Teodron not being broken, full heaven control in post, I thought they might read the fact that that was coming through the flank, but Bang didn't really have a teammate to play closely off. Timing slightly askew between him and Zelsis. And it's another pistol. You just heard it from the coaches, especially from Kaplan. It is very tough to win on a map if you're losing pistol and bonus rounds regularly. In the rifles, they were keeping it very competitive on Pearl. You can't afford to lose out on a trophy and think back and think, oh, well, it was just a pistol round.
Yeah. That's Valorant at the end of the day.
यही तो मारना इसको.
Floating his util just to evacuate, get the hell out of there.
Damage
swarmed and swamped because Sen have access towards this B side. They want to try and take the fight straight to them on top of it. You can see them rattling forward to the pistol bullets, and this time Jorgamo not lucky to survive. Leaf hard committed off onto the corner. It's an aftershock at that.
Can't फट गई.
Push them back and away. All being used here, and he just sees the shoulders peeking through on the sides of the smokes, and last-ditch effort and play by Sentinels. See if they can do that damage, maybe claim a couple of guns in the process, but
nice
contained by G2.
I do like what Sentinels are throwing out on their attack side after pistol eco rounds. We saw a really good one against MIBR as well. They're coming in here with ideas. They're trying to disrupt G2 and apply pressure to them, but as yet, unshaken. Here's this important rifle run. And this is the one that Kaplan was just talking about in the coach's interview, that they, I think the word he said was goofed. So Sen have got to make sure that they're playing with a bit of discipline here. And watching out for G2 to make the play, because normally initiative is going to be with the team that has the lower weaponry.
Yeah.
Deep trademark in mid, giving them passive information. And Jorg is set up to go for a flash peek off Leaf's contact on B. Now this looks really similar to the pistol round setup for Sentinels. Narrate goes through mid, smokes himself off, paranoias, and they A split.
Narrate not committing towards it though, he's going to regroup with the rest of the team. Sending the drone forwards, just seeing Valen. Dash committal, seconds in on the site. Retake is the name of the game for G2.
John takes the orb, and now he takes the plant, and he's got Armageddon online, round 3, which is impressive. Especially considering you don't win the pistol.
See if it can make the difference here.
Incentivizes them to play off-site, so Bang's got a pull. You have salvos, you have Armageddon, you have the fragment grenade as well. So much util. Although there's the salvos used early from John.
Push and pull. Both sides just trying to exchange out that util as well and seeing G2 hoping that they can get a better side of it. Zekken though, basically the only one playing forwards onto that. So Flash does connect. It's good in the process, but time is ticking away and it's running short at that. Narrate forwards and put in a bit of a pinch. The Armageddon has to be offloaded here. Means that nobody's going to be able to stick this one, but they're overlapping a lot of their util. Still
got the
ticking.
pull.
Leaf's been knocked off the map at some point, and yeah, the pull is a savior at the end of the day. If the guns didn't rain it, it's going to be that. That's the trouble when you take the time trying to get into these retakes.
And I had a questioning tone in my voice when I was saying that John used the salvo early. But actually, with the salvo and with Zekken fighting on site, it made G2 pretty confident they were running an on-site post-plant setup.
Yeah.
And so G2 ended up investing a lot of utility to try to get through this smoke here that we're watching. Whereas instead, G2 are a good enough team if they realize you're playing full off-site, they're holding onto all of that util and then chucking it at you in A main. And getting a much earlier tap on the spike, it must be said as well. So nice awareness from Sen. Playing things in a pretty advanced way. Narrate continues to pick up this almost like Cypher duty, where you go forwards in mid, throw out the smoke, break the door.
Just applying pressure onto the A players as they go into that hit. The setup from G2 again, they had a familiar one to the prior one, so this is open sight and open access for Sentinels.
They've realized that G2 are not fighting for this area of the map, so they're getting pre-plant.
Yeah.
Can't argue with it.
They can put in a test towards G2 to see how well they can retake. With an op in the hands of Leaf too, it's going to be slowing them down a step. Drone is used to clear the way. Broken. Back to the corner, not anticipated. John QT playing ahead of the curve when it comes to G2, seeing if they can at least make a way for it, but it's that rolling retreat that's being ordered for, and Zekken hitting. Still a lot to tangle, and still Valen with the 2, but Trent left alone now in a 1v2, and it's just not doable. Guardian in the hand. It's the ready to make short work of the stragglers.
If you think about the defensive setups we've seen from G2, you're worried about mid, because that's where Leaf and Jorgamo can both be playing in tucked positions behind boxes. You are actually worried about B main as well, because that's where the operator is going to be a large amount of the time. You're also worried about that jump spot that Leaf has been playing with the chamber in A main. But as long as you hard clear A main, Sen are looking pretty good for it. An eco round here for G2. And if they want to make some kind of adjustment, it wouldn't really be for this round. You don't want to showcase your strategic change too early.
Smoke at the feet, no slowing down for Sentinels though. And Jorgamo! My God, man, he's doing backflips in the air trying to contest with that.
And they steamroll the B site. A big exit, knocking G2 like Skittles. It's going to get them up to other big ultimates that they can use in the post-plan.
Yeah, Sen are thinking about it as well.
John should be running.
Exactly, they're sending John in, take these fights, because again, he's one away from the Armageddon once more.
To be honest, he doesn't even need to really die in this spot
Hello,
or get the
QT.
kill.
John QT,
because that ult orb over in A main is pretty free, but he's going to get it anyway. Right, coming into this next round, if G2 don't take a tactical timeout, they've got to be thinking about how to stop Sen from taking A main control. Yeah. And whether that means doing the bunny hop play from Leaf, or whether that means having some kind of fault line play off someone's contact.
Trouble is, Leaf can't really play in the standard way that he has been in the past because of his Teo pick. It's just enough of a curveball that he's got to think about. Knife being played by Zelsis, and also the salvos, because, yeah, I've been mentioning it, it's predictable when he goes for that play. You know exactly where he's going to be putting that rendezvous, and you can see them here, Sen are doing it.
Yeah.
Up in the library, and where the TP to common spot is.
So really trying to make life difficult for Leaf. He has the outlaw. And this time, Sen, and already trying to stay one step ahead, anticipating the change from G2 and hit B.
It's a big ult. There's no gaps at all to play within, and Valen was hard committed to the one side. He was just trying to bail out his teammate that was jogging him, but TP's backs away, and that's, oh my, it's all going apart, isn't it, for G2? Dimensional Drift, the Hunter's Fury, any attempt to salvage this fight. But the tags, okay, landing in the end was Zekken cleaned up, and that's a plan. Still not committed, but Sentinel's now going into the next wave of things here. Jumping down, flash forwards, but the shot's missing, going wide of the Outlaw. No damage done, no kills to be found. G2 still making this awkward, but Sen, make sure they defend their IGLs back and make sure that they can't step over it still. Not accounting for that. Leaf rips it off the shoulders. 2v3, they got to take a step, okay. The pull forced out, and Leaf left to do it all in this spot. Taps out wide, that's just the first layer of things, and now he's going to worry about the flanks, okay. There is that level of awareness, he's taking a fight towards it and isolating it, but no bullets left. Gets the reload, time ticking against him, but only 18 health to work with, and there he knows it. The convo of the rest of his team, communication is clear. Goes for that jump spot with a shorty just to seal the deal.
Sen are looking like the same form that they were in on Split in terms of being ahead of the game. John is reading stuff really well, and I'm super impressed with the anti-strat that they've got going on. To shift up their composition, add the Tejo in, and be so aware of the threats that G2 have around the map.
It's not about how we do it, it's not about how we do it.
So that's the Sen motto for when they get a sloppy round win, basically. It's not about how we do it, it's just about that we do it. But to be honest with you, I'm pretty content with what I'm seeing from them. I feel like the execution's decent. John was in a pushed up position there, so you see him use the salvo early. And the rest of Sen managing to mitigate Leaf even when he had, as you pointed out, great awareness. Josh RT needs to have this tag time out with his team because they made the adjustment themselves and it didn't work. So now coach input required.
Probably not going to be for this round as well. G2, the money is dire.
Yeah, it couldn't get worse.
They might cook up a little bit of an eco play. I mean, I've got the preview. I can see the mini-map of where G2 are currently collected. Looks like they want to try and take a peek down mid to see if they can get some kills. It's been the playbook when G2 are on ecos.
But Sen are doing such a great job of playing some people on site and some people off. They're not full retreating, so they're not allowing G2 to get easy retakes.
Yeah. It's just enough where G2 have to respect it and use util, but not enough that they can just kind of waltz in, run, not clear the corners.
And one thing that also means is that if G2 commit super heavy to this mid push, there will be multiple players waiting for them, playing passive off-site post-plant positions. Although, gotta say, the timing they've taken here is so early.
Yeah, it's just bang left to contain this mid push that's occurring as well. Oh my, he's in astral form. They've slowed it down.
Look, he doesn't even think about it.
Already passed, but I think he spotted them anyway! It's too late! That's slightest of timings, and bang left to pick up the pieces. And these players off onto the flank. The dart is going to be dealt with, and now it's Trent who's been put under a bit of a squeeze. Just to offload that util, just to see if he can buy some space and time, and even with that discipline trying to slow down a shot to the Sheriff, it's bang that still contains the pace.
Leaf's got a potential to win this one if he was in position to take any fights with the tour de force, but instead it's going to be on Jorg, I think, hitting something absurd if G2 want a chance.
Just jump peek through the wall, he needs information to roll with first off, and well, okay. Leaf there. TP back behind, he's not going to anticipate this. It was all obfuscated. Wait a minute! Speak too soon. And now, hold on, he's going to be able to get half of this. The star was late to be placed. He's sticking it all away. He's sticking it all away. Bang thinks it's a fake tap! Bang thinks it's a fake tap! What a clutch! Even Al just not expecting it, and the kills are rounded out. Leaf has just stolen a round away from them. Was he in astral form? Could he not hear that he was sticking that?
I think he must have been. He was the last player alive, and he's in astral form as the tap goes because he's placing the star. I think he just missed the sound cue, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
that's my chamber. That's my chamber.
and that's the first time that these last couple of rounds, because Leaf almost pulled off a bit of a clutch previously. This is where you're really seeing the Leaf from kickoff 2025 so far.
Yeah, it's rearing its head. Despite the Teo pick that they're using to try and punish the common positions that Leaf wants to play in. Pushed up towards towards Library, where his TP might be laying. They hit a jump spot. Zekken peeking through into the smoke. It's going to be fading. No danger though, no players to receive him just yet. Dash is going to be fading away on top of it. Might be incentivized to try and get some value done. Just going to be removing the drone still. Steps up to the challenge.
G2 only just picking up these timings. It feels like Zekken was good. Oh, possibly for a couple. Like, what is this from G2?
As the smoke drops down so Zekken can recross, I mean, it's just instinctual.
Yeah, just reading the timing play there so well. It looked like Zekken had almost caught it.
Can't snap to the drone in time. He's going to be suppressed here. And Leaf is in a bit of a pickle. Yeah, has to respect that now. So he's going to be cleared out towards A. Sen get access to the site once more.
Narrate's doing a great job on this pinch as well. All of the mid control that they've been getting. He's been playing for heaven control in a lot of these A splits. And it gives them much better post-plant positions.
He's going to be that real difficult player. Out towards the link. No command. Waves coming outwards. Senna holding this one tooth and nail, playing ahead of the Cosmic Divide. They know they have to play up onto the side, but G2 have got all their plays towards the backside of it. John needs one and potentially even more! Calls for the collapse and calls for the help of the rest of his team to put an end to what G2 were aiming for.
To be honest, beautiful round from Sentinels. Even despite Zekken getting timing and spun through that smoke, they take full mid control. John Cuties Tejo pushing back Leaf and stopping him from taking early positions, and then drones into A and pushes Leaf away again. And Narrate is getting set up for these cross-map paranoias to also push the chamber further and further. Takes heaven control, and then is the backstab against the retake. Every game plan here from Sen is working. It feels very similar to Split.
Yeah.
Their anti is, or not even just anti, the anti plus the game plans that they've specifically come in with today to mix things up. They look brilliant.
Yeah, and it's forced the second time out of the G2. This is just the first half. We're only into, round 9 coming up, but you can feel the pressure on G2 now. It's a scenario as well in this best of 5 where G2 should have the advantages. They can, push the map pool into any direction they want without fail. And yet, still, it's Sentinels coming in with just these little twists and turns that are adding to their composition. They're thinking about ways to disrupt the game plan from G2.
Josh RT is looking to try to make the adjustment, get his team back into the game. I think G2 are getting, having a real struggle when they don't have the ability to threaten Leaf or Joel playing mid. It removes so much information. It's not even the threat of just getting a pick, it's also that they then have rotates cut off. They lose vent control. They have to worry so much about mid, so it weakens the sites.
Everyone grouped up from Sen. Up against the eco for G2. Round where they would love a miracle, but unlikely to happen. Drone heard for Joe's just trying to break this one as well, deny that information, but go button's going to be called. Zekken, he's got that dash active. Got to wait for the util to try and make a go of things, and there's a dart up and overhead. On either side as well, it's trying to be counteracted by G2. They definitely play towards the sour cues, but they are just lining up for it. Up and above onto heaven, maybe there's a timing to be taken, but the flashes are picture perfect. Everybody blinded up, one away from the ace. Leaf is miles away.
It's technically better to give it to John Cutie here because he'll be able to get a... he's getting the... He's getting the ult off anyway for the cheers of the crowd. Yeah. Leaf, the percentage player, throws himself against the rocks. And that is the overwhelming pressure from Sen and from Zekken in this round. It is absolutely flawless. Even with the Kalat in there too. But Josh RT's tactical timeout is for this next round coming up, round 10. They're not as worried about the fact that they almost got aced there. It's all about whether or not they can string a few more together on their defense side. And Sen will be reluctant to allow them.
Still smiles for G2. The salvos just in case.
Yeah, same kind of setup. They're not actually using the salvos A main, so, Leaf could be going for that A main jump kind of control. He hasn't tried it once this game, I don't think.
It's a much more passive setup. Taken, as you mentioned before, it's like this trap play.
Yeah, this is the trap play. So Leaf is on an off angle. He takes contact and Jorgamo flashes in.
Is the armor going to be there in time? It's a flash as well. He wants to take that timing with plenty of shots. But just the composure, Niem not quite there. It's a stressful scenario to be placed in, that's for sure. And with it, Leaf and Jorgamo of
disaster. Absolute disaster for G2.
Got a save.
I think Sen was super ready for that. That's something that G2 have run before, a trap play that they've relied on a couple of times in this map already.
Yeah.
And you see the positioning of the Armageddon. I mean, if we get to watch it on the replay, it may have been that Jorgamo was actually forced to take that timing because the Armageddon was on top of him over towards Danger at Cliff.
It's a little bit hard to see.
Whether or not he was forced, he still had an opportunity to get at least one. He just couldn't quite land the bullet.
Sentinels, one of the best teams that I think we've watched at making sure that they know the small gaps and windows of opportunity that Taeho gives you to take those fights as well. It's not necessarily the threat of the ult, like the Armageddon, you can't really stand your ground against it, but look at this. They deal with this handedly. Didn't catch the kill onto Leaf, but he's trying to evacuate into heaven and they're just spamming him.
Yeah. They have extremely good awareness of how that's going to affect Leaf. And Jorg, though he wasn't completely forced.
Gooner, bro, just playing exits.
That's a first on broadcast.
Look at that Arsenal fan.
Yes, yeah.
Look at that fan of the soccer team, Arsenal.
Of course, Arsenal mentioned.
Goodness me.
That's what he was referring to.
Wow, that's a bold one. That's taken me out.
That's funny.
Okay.
That is funny. Familiar scenes from Leaf. This time to Presto. That was a knife towards the back, and he is caught into the angle. It's good with the ult, but he's got so much util at the back feet and a flash into his face as well. It's purely full uncomfortability. But Leaf survives. Enough time board as well for him to just reposition with the rendezvous.
Yeah, but they've got them completely contained on B. I mean, look at these positions from Valen and from Jorg.
Yeah. No exit plan for Sentinels. You're going to have to batter your way through this one. Square up, take the fight straight to them. Everyone really quite close and personal up onto the site. No one playing off to a degree, and that's back open wide. Zelsis now going to be commenting the fights occurring, and decisions need to be made. Sentinels, they have to carve out a path. There's only 2 of them remaining. A 2v3, there's timing still. Clone dealt with, and Leaf, by this time, wait for his team to slowly collapse onto him. He is Lodo, brings it that 2v2. It's still uncomfortable for Sentinels, but it's definitely winnable, and it comes down to that fight! Bang wins it, 1v1! Able to capitalize, Valen!
Valen has been there for his team today. He's had them, guiding them through some difficult rounds, but they are needing it. You see him after he wins this one, staring up towards the ceiling, praying for another one to come his way, or maybe just taking a breath after how frantic these moments are. It feels Herculean for G2 to get rounds today, which is such the opposite of what we've seen from them in kickoff. Everything has looked too easy up until this point. This is the first time they've been tested, and my God, what a test it is. G2 need another to make this look competitive. And Sen, going back to the well of these A splits by the look of things.
Big presence from G2 up through mid.
Look at this. Salvo saved this round, Brent, so not used in the same spots. And at this point, you've already conditioned Leaf. He's not going to start the round in those kind of areas.
Yeah, and feels a bit impromptu.
But the Taeho drone is so fast at being able to clear out both A main and the site.
Trent is hyper committed. Needs to make a play. His back just opens up wide. He somehow gets 2, and he's still alive. Alive and kicking and ripping Sentinels to shreds. The slightest of windows, and he capitalizes, jumps on it, pounces on it almost immediately, and a refight taken out towards A main. This is rapid. Shock darts trying to force them out wide. Jorgamo, that's a spike drop down on top of it. Bang! Needs to go for another re-swing, and he's found 2 of his own. 3 total into the round. It would have to be an ace. 2 left to stand. The smoke gonna be fading just in a moment. He hears the footsteps and knows what to expect.
They don't know he's here.
They don't know. He's crossed up onto the corner. Opened up into the shoulder.
NT bang.
Inside for Jonah P.
Well, Trent has just given them a miracle. We didn't get to see it. I mean, the observers expected Trent to die. He should have died. Yeah. The entry player, the Taeho drone, they created a spot where Trent was only able to occupy a tiny little area in his anchor position on A, and yet somehow he gets 3 out of this, playing off the flash from Jonah P wonderfully, and then comes back to deal with Zeka.
Trent being the opener and a closer of that final round, exactly what G2 needed.
Nice! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Feeling it and keeping his team in it. And we're going to be sending it down the river as well. We're standing by, and listen, this is purely coincidental, but he's standing by with Trent's dad and brother.
Thank you, gentlemen. Before the next half, I am here with Trent's dad and brother, Jason and Hunter. Thank you so much for joining me. We actually just saw Trent get a triple, so that's got to feel good. But otherwise, friends, family out in force, how's it feel to be here at the arena?
Oh, this is awesome. I love this. We come out here a lot and just cheering him on. Excited for Bangkok.
Heck yeah. You watch a lot of EMEA, Hunter. How do you feel like we're matching up right now here in Americas versus the squads?
You know, I do watch a lot of the different regions. I think it's interesting because we usually stay ahead. We practice a lot, so we usually stay ahead on the comps and the metas. And I see that we're playing a lot of Yoru, and some other teams over in EMEA are playing a little bit different comps. So I'm excited to see how that matches up in Bangkok.
And being Trent's brother, was there ever like a timeline when you're beating Trent in games? Is there ever a time after one of these games you're like, hey man, I kind of saw you did something wrong? Is it like that?
It's funny, I grew up playing like Call of Duty and Counter-Strike and stuff, right? And if he wants to play me in that, I'll whoop his ass. But he's definitely way better than me at Valorant. I've played a few times. I'll text him after the games. I think last time we played Sen on Pearl, I texted him after the match, and he had like a flick on Pearl, like guy was coming out of art, and or he was coming out of main, and he was looking at art, and he flicked back over to main and got him. I texted him after that. It was pretty cool.
Awesome. And final question for you before I let you enjoy the game, Jason. Looking at how everything has gone here, you got to sit now with Sen City in the crowd. They're so loud. Jonah P last time said every time Sen gets a frag, you hear that crowd. How's it been trying to out-cheer them and just get there for G2?
Oh, it's tough. Sentinels has a big crowd here. It's tough. We try, we whistle, we scream. Hopefully they can hear us.
All right, well, I'm sure they'll hear you for next half. Thank you so much for the interview. I appreciate your time. And best of luck to the team in the game. Back to you.
I love that. I mean, just channeling the older brother energy. I mean, that's a big fan of whatever that was, man. I mean,
yeah, I'm not sure I could find a single game that I could beat Trent in, to be honest with you.
No, absolutely not.
Where'd I have to take him? Like checkers or something? Study for months, I don't think I could win.
Connect 4.
Yeah. All right, G2, the pressure is still on them. They got a couple of big rounds there with clutches. Valen and then Trent coming out with a triple anchoring.
There's Leaf trying to play ahead of that one way before it blooms and blossoms up onto the corner. Smoke drops down into the feed, jumps body, sees the head, and that's a lot of bullets rattled off and away. Wait a second.
That's a clone.
Clone, gone. Okay, tripped me out for a second. All good. Zelsis ahead of the smoke. And he's trying to play ahead of that timing. Narrate from the backside as well. They're anticipating that G2 are going to go for that refight. One step ahead from Sentinels. Pistol round. Lying in wait for them, but not out of the danger zone just yet. It's a quick wrap around, a quick pivot from G2. Making their way over towards B.
Sen have needed a pistol. I mean, they're already ahead. They're 7-5 up, right? But they lost both of the pistols over towards Pearl. They were losing some like bonus round situations as well. So they'll feel like one is owed to them at this point. A 4v3, but also a spot where you don't really know where these post-plant positions are going to be. You're expecting G2 to go for some kind of play. They're down people. Leaf. He's only got a classic to be able to work with here. Burned up pretty much all of his headhunter bullets, although he has one left if he wants to do something stylish.
Damage done to Zelsis.
It should be Sen's round.
Should be. Steps forward. When that was the low player, not even necessary. Slightly overkill, but it turns into the 3v3 quick evacuation backing away. That's Utah going to be expended, and Zekken happy to peek off of it. Pushes Leaf into that unfavorable spot and position, and the shock darts flying forward. Still, they're low, and Zekken needs to hold the line, push them back. Sheriff in hand. He gets it done.
Weapon differential there from Zekken as well. You can't win a wallbang fight like that. Great positioning. Tucking himself on as far wide as an angle as he could take. And Sen take a pistol. Like I said, they'll feel like it was owed to them, but also, they've just been so good in the rifle round situations. They've still been playing G2 close. Surely this is what it takes to push them over the line and get a 2-1 lead in this series. It's now Sen's map to win, I would say.
Players from Sentinels, Zelsis going to be feeling tested and pressured, but not quite when Zekin's off by his side. Stun's still going to be connecting, going for the, oh my goodness, going for the flash peek around the side. It's going to be a nade knockdown, and they want to fight this one too, Van Nail. I was going to say it could be overzealous, but these guys are just winning it out regardless.
The ping pong play from Zekin and Zelsis is so good. When Zekin backs off, Zelsis flashes himself in. Impossible, and Jonah P purely prioritizing the ult orb there. A shutdown, meticulous.
Keeping this money nice and good for the Sentinels bonus round, just taking a peek at it. Levels of danger to it, but just holding it down towards A main in this one. Not dropping anybody, so there's the danger here. And
Zach.
They know.
Great little duo play. So where's he taking the Outlaw then? Over on that same off angle that we saw Leaf playing. So Leaf actually might end up taking contact here against the same spot. Although
Outlaw.
Looking to just control this area rather than hunt for a kill, I would imagine, because he's the only player on G2 pressuring B.
Mid control given up by Sen. They have to be scared of this. Enough time has passed now without too much noise. They hear the drone now finally through main. Knife's not going to be catching on to Trent, so just a full duration out of that drone. It can slowly creep towards A main, take back control. Probably going to be aware of the fact it was that refight, hard refight from Zelsis, a bit of a conditioning from him, so G2 need to be wary. They could pounce on their bonus.
Drone doesn't catch onto Jorgamo. Isn't deep enough to force out his gate crash either. No threat of the suppression, and this was what we were talking about earlier.
What a shot!
What is that?
Shot.
You're kidding me?
He's so ready for it, though. He plays in that spot himself all the time.
He just knows the crosshair placement. That's a hard shot to hit.
This
if you notice somebody there.
This timing might be hard to hit.
Still going for it. Wait, he's calling the players back over towards B.
He's using the trademark for info, trying to clear that spot, and Bang was in that spot just a moment ago.
And just that Jorgamo insert in through mid. Thriving in the chaos. A deep flash into the corner. Array has no options whatsoever. Flawless from G2. Well navigated against the Sen bonus. There could have been danger there.
And I am already, and this is very early to say this, but I'm already a little worried about what Sen are doing in mid. They committed super heavy to the B trap, and that's fine. But they had a single Tejo drone to re-clear through middle there, and otherwise, it looked like Jorg could basically run around in the late part of the round, do whatever he wanted. As soon as one of the G2 players gets a sniff of that, it's going to be difficult for Sen to hold on. One of the goals might be to try to force out that Tejo drone as early in the round as you possibly can, because then it applies max pressure later on. Flash, fake teleport.
Yeah, really creating the threats in the back of the minds of the Sen players.
Paranoia from Narrate, but no re-clear actually, so they used the Omen flash, but still have to watch mid.
Spot in the corner as Zelsis throws out the knife. Largely dodged, I believe, in play. Shock darts up against it. Nate's still going to be good for it. Now a flash of his own, trying to play himself back in, but Jorgamo's way ahead of it. On top of it, flick of the wrist. I mean, what an adjustment by Leaf. They're picking center pieces with their defense.
Mid is such a gap right now, and that means that all of the rotates have to go through spawn. They're so late, these rotates. Zekin can't even connect with the rest of the team. It's going to be a 3-person save. It's not really the A anchoring that is the problem in this round, even though it might look like that because they lost the site. It's the fact that you can't get reinforcements in.
Yeah, losing control of mid early, there needs to be the idea in Sen's mind,
and that's
why clear it.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying, even though it's right at the beginning of this half, it already looks worrying actually, because the protocols are not really there.
Nice one.
You saw in this round, Narrate throws a paranoia, and you got to expect, in his head, he's thinking, well, I'm throwing that for John. John is then supposed to swing out through a smoke and make sure there's no one there. But they're not willing to commit to that. All right, fair enough. Joe didn't like that skin that he was using. He'd like a different one, please.
Sure, that was intentional. All good.
But you put yourself in a rough spot here, Sen, actually, because it looked like they were going to run away with this. They had the, you know, the idea of winning a pistol was a good idea. And now they've got themselves in a spot where Jorg and Jonah P can sync up some kind of Yoru breach combo. It's a bit concerning. G2 could close the gap.
The salvos, there's little gaps and windows of play there. Come spot to see if they can see through mid. They know that Zekken is holding on to this operator. It's pretty apparent from the previous round at least.
Fake TP again. Narrate will have heard that. Does it force out drone from John?
John's just jump spotting.
Yeah, I mean,
around.
Droning this early on in the round is terrible because then you've just got nothing to give you info when they might be going for an exec at the minute mark.
But this is literally rinse and repeat what we just saw. I mean, G2 can go into this A hit, wait the drone, aftershock into the corner. That's meant to be the punish. So John's forced to cancel and just get the hell out of there.
Leaf can't cross.
And still gets out with the one.
Leaf cannot cross. How's he crossing?
Yeah, this is it. Risks need to be taken, but that's a roll in front, and it's going to be knocking you sky high. Zelsis, can he still stay alive and kicking? Threading the needle. Trent just trying to get himself way into the side here. But a spam and an offloaded with
What's
the
going
ult.
on?
I mean, Zelsis is just using that just to try and survive. Up through mid, though. That is creeping. Leaf still that Pakistan play occurring. And this is the danger, as you mentioned. But there's still 27 seconds to play with Bang. To be the playmaker once more. He's been doing it over and over again. Time. It's going to be at the back of his mind, but he doesn't know where Leaf is still creeping. He can't really hard commit to these players that are working their way over towards B. Plant. Out towards Cliff. Deep flash. Dodged. And Leaf's still there. He's holding it down. Out forwards. Bang. Creeping closer. Onto the side now, and he's applying pressure of his own. He's trying to get Sentinel straight back into this fight, but sidestepping. It's good movement from Jonah P.
Nice one.
Over the reload out into the open. And Jonah P and Zelsis forced to do a lot into this spot. And the backstab finally comes through.
That round is chaos.
अरे ये
Absolute
Celsius
chaos.
पर ये
Both
करते
teams
रहता है,
had
कभी ऐसी गलती
lost control on that. There was an attempt from G2 to try to commit into A once Celsius went for the flash. Only Trent ran in. Really rare to see that level of discoordination from G2. And Sen again had that gap through mid where Leaf found a pick. It was anyone's round to take. But Sen had come out with the goods. I mean, this is mad. You do not see G2 make that kind of mistake very often. Bang and John QT do a good job of applying pressure.
No more sign on the mic. Give me a fist bump. I just need
I won't hear that. What does he need? Probably some tactical adjustment.
I don't know. I mean, it sounds more like I would imagine, and this is speculation at this point, that it's a little similar to what we were talking about earlier in prior games. Do you remember we showcased this clip of Narrate after they won the game against Loud, and he was like, I can't win these fair fights. Yeah. Like, I think a lot of the way that Narrate is emotionally attached to the game is attached to his own performance and his ability to win fair gun duels. How many fair gun duels has Narrate taken on defense? He keeps getting timinged by a player up mid. Yeah. So like Narrate's job is to plug the gap in mid, and he keeps having somebody like Jorg or Leaf take a timing against him. So if I had to speculate, I think Narrate's just saying like, I need some fair fights in mid. I need you guys to actually clear this gap with me. And then I'll stop sighing on the microphone.
Yeah. And this is Sen calling timeout despite winning that last round, and could be many reasons for it. Honestly, it could be the chaos of that round. I mean, Sen just hits the panic button, Kaplan.
It's the mid gap. I'm telling you, it's the mid gap. Even in that round that they won just then in round 17, there's an enormous mid gap, and Narrate is clearly not happy about having to deal with it himself. And I would agree. I don't think they're doing a good job of defending against it. So, what's the adjustment from Kaplan? Are they going to fight mid? Are they going to op mid?
Looks like it. I mean,
Narrate is just going to tuck himself into here.
So they know the gate crash is only going up on the left side of mid.
Why disabled for my
I think the plan might just be smoke up when I hear it, play anti-flash, see if they can peek, and this time, okay, it's a committal with a dimensional drift, so there's no punish in sight, and Jorgamo's going to be getting a lot of information. This is a different twist into it, despite the adjustments that Sen are trying to make. It's a fault line going its way forward. Jorgamo needs to really respect, I think, that they've got a variety of players just tapping away with the bullets there, crossing them up onto the angles. Leaf has been dealt with. He was cut up onto the side. There's still no plant here for G2. Time has been bought for these Sen players, and they are rapidly approaching. Hold on, there's a timing!
Oh, what a play.
Jorgamo's ahead of it. Drone at his feet, not worried about it. No defense inside, and with that heaven control, an extra difficulty now. Lay it down for the Sen retake, especially with the op into the hands of Zekken. He has to be a passive player. It's the rest of his team now that need to step up, and Bang does so. He's forward onto the site now. Making sure to apply that pressure evenly, but they still need to worry about this Heaven player. They might be trying to catch him here onto the timing. And yes, Narrate's caught him. Here's the danger, spamming down onto them. It's bullets raining from above. Narrate can stick this one. The smokes into their faces. And what is the next option? It's a pull. Still got half though. These players are so low. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Trent is pulling off just an absolute miracle. Despite the win con, Second has no choice just to watch from the sidelines here and try and survive away from the sphere, but just encased by it. There's no saving that operator.
And that's a pretty big problem for Sentinels, because now their eco's in a really rough spot too. Second's one away from Bladestorm. Maybe they can make a play for an orb. But it's all of the chip damage that was done earlier that allows the spam to come through. The spam is really unreliable now, but it's a good plant position. And look at that. I mean, that's not over mic. You've got to remember that the coaches are not live to the players in that spot. So Kaplan's not worried about throwing off the team morale, but even from the snippet we heard earlier, you know that Sen are starting to feel very frustrated about this, despite being in the lead. It's a weird spot. They're in the lead, but they're almost more frustrated than G2 are right now.
You can feel the momentum slipping away from them. The money in this round, not great. Inside the smoke. G2 got to be aware of the fact that there is some danger here, and yet you can see Bang, he's trying to replenish the smoke that he was in. Just gets caught with the random spam. That's underhanded. Did he blind himself? Oh, what's happening? They're chasing the kills down. G2 not really willing to let anybody on Sen survive, and decision made for them. Don't want to give away too many more ults when G2 are so much closer to it. I mean, 2 away. Gonna try and play for the long con here, but Sentinels are struggling to get a grip into this half.
They certainly are. Now, previous round, they had a game plan. Kaplan gave them a game plan coming out of the tag timeout, but they couldn't really execute it because Jorgamo had Yoru ult. So it just broke whatever they were trying. Do they go back to that game plan? Are they going to stick with what their coach told them, or do we see an adjustment? They have a lot of ultimates, but Sen's comp, I don't know, like your Omen ult and your Bladestorm aren't necessarily doing too much unless Second's frying. But the Cosmic Divide is definitely going to put a bit of a difference into the retake.
Heavy stack of players from Sentinels. Fault line, 2 of them stunned up. In through the smoke as well, trying to take these timings, and they're fighting ahead of it. This is a difference. Sen trying to take it, a bit of argy-bargy onto the side. Jonah P just spots the top of the cranium, but not expecting the backstab. The rain was there, ready with open arms.
Heavy stack on B. G2 not ready for it. They were expecting, I've got to imagine, Sen to be more worried about mid, based on the conditioning prior. Sen are like, nah, we'll just fight them. Where we hear noise, we will simply fight them, and then we'll cover the lurk timing later. This should be unwinnable for G2.
The spike drop down into the open. They've got Celsius, I believe, taking contact just with the slightest of jiggles. Sees it. And here's the... Oh, wait a second. Narray losing that fight.
That's a whiff.
It adds difficulties.
The flank, though. The flank from John.
Yeah. He's got to be the saviour for them. They can't stop the plant, but they still have a very good chance of winning this round, assuming the timing is taken. He's missed him. Missed him into the corner. These... Well, Armageddon's not going to give away the position. It's going to push them straight into his grass, though, and it's intelligent at that. The major benefit of it. And John, he's lucky to be alive there, but with it, he gets the information he was looking for. They know where Trent is. Stunned up, out into the corner. Still loses it, but it's an impossibility at this point. Cliffside plant, full stick, full presence of mind that Sen are able to get up to 11.
2 more to go.
Let's see if this game plan continues from Sentinels. They're 2 away. 2 rounds away from being able to take both map picks from G2 with really nice ideas. But most of the preset ideas came in the first half, and now they're kind of scrambling. It's a lot of improv stuff, audible calls, trying to figure out and adapt on the fly. So far, though, the adjustment in that round that worked was heavy fight the site, tried to flood in, tried to anchor, stack the site that G2 are going for, and worry about the mid-lurk later. If Leaf realizes that, he might be able to find a quicker lurk timing. There's always a counter. It just comes down to identifying what your opponent's going to be doing. That is not where he wanted the trademark. He was trying to clear out a potential push-up.
That timing's been missed for him, so... Still going to be taking it. He's lurking his way up through mid. Like you said, Sen are just willing to give up the entirety of that middle section. Trust that they can flood defend in time if the hit does start to come in. I mean,
early.
It's slow going for G2. Early drone.
Early drone. And now they don't have much to reclaim mid. They're going to have to do it with bodies.
Drone forwards. Race cut to the side. That's a rolling thunder that will be connecting. Still survives, still stays. Tethered onto the corner. He's going to be TPing. Repositions. In through the smoke as well. He's cut up the ankles. They don't know where this guy is playing from.
Nice one.
It's a pivot. Jorgamo's still trying to play this one forwards, but Lee finally takes that timing. Up to go straight through mid. Can't win the fight out though from those straggling players, and Sentinels have an opening. A window for them. VALORANT forced to get off that plant. There's danger there with the salvos raining down from above, but John is low. Nice in the hands of Zekken. What is the play they're going to cook up in this spot? Cosmic Divide. This is going to force Sen forwards. Gives VALORANT space to reposition. Playing himself a little bit back. There's a dash forwards. It was saved just for this. One would have stun. Anything to try and coordinate this attempt. And they have cleared up most of the side. They've got to know these players. Playing behind Pillar.
It's not a good plan.
Not really. They have to double up now and take this fight towards them, but still no kills that could be earned by G2. Despite it not being a good plan, time is ticking. It's getting away from Sentinels here. They need to force the issue. Salvos out wide. That's what they were waiting for. And it's rain arrow rifle. Is that time?
Yes.
Just about.
Tons of time here for Sen to be able to get it across the line.
My God.
What patience from Sen. A second on the clock to spare. And they used all of that time to wait for John's util to come back online.
Yeah.
They used the stun updraft dash to clear any post-plant positions that were going to be close. And then the salvo pushes everybody into both of the Sen players on the retake.
Insane levels of discipline required to wait that out when the time is ticking at that degree.
Yeah,
if you get to the second, you're waiting for the cooldown to come back on.
I mean, an incredible spray transfer too from John, who's been amazing in this series. He has looked so good.
Sen up to 12. One more step is all they need to take the lead in this best-of-5 grand finals.
Jorgamo going for the Euro World up mid again.
He's looking for that information.
Hasn't found Narrate.
Yeah, spots the one. Clear out most of the way towards heaven as well.
Full retake. Now you're playing this against a Cosmic Divide from Bang, so on-site post-plant positions are probably going to be required.
They're
picking it out like they are somewhat aware, but G2, a couple of players off onto the side as a Cosmic Divide to split them up, and that's why Trent is playing up and close and personal. The full line, just a slight whiffage, but still the kills are raining down upon them. Jorgamo ETP back into the spawn angle, I believe. Tried to cut it up behind them. It dealt with it, at least partially. The salvos now drop down onto the cliffside. Slide down away! Drop down! And Trent has no choice but to just fire a last-ditch effort. Anything to survive this. John's found the kill. Second under the fuse, the slightest to taps, and Jonah B is nowhere near. It's inevitable! And with him falling, Sentinels take the lead.
Well played, guys.
That's an unreal map. So much scrambling on the fly. And you heard it from inside Sen's comms themselves, so they themselves didn't believe the full way. I mean, they're like trying to make sure that everybody's
one match सेंटर जीत जाती. मैं जा रहा हूँ, मेरे आँखों कुप्पा नींद से गोल्डे गोल्डे बोल रहे हैं. 2.5 घंटे की स्ट्रीम सेट में जा रहा हूँ. Good night. Congratulations, Sentinels, champions. Thank you.